being able to be a coach that can have a nice life where you have the money you want to make, that you feel comfortable, and that you can actually live off this career is more important than chasing the 90-day transformations.
The kids now are lifting weights at like first grade, second grade.
One of the biggest challenges with people in today's world is like distracting ourselves.
Like, do you always work out with music?
I used to, and then I heard David Goggins talking about how you're not gonna have music motivating you at all moments in life. He's like, so he's like, do the hard stuff without the extra. Always playing sports growing up kind of showed me that being fit is important, and like taking care of yourself and trying to always get better.
Okay, explain to me what the process is of starting a gym in LA.
You can be really good at something. There's like people that are super niched and a complete mess in the rest of their life.
I see that a lot with celebrity clients or clients in general. They're really good monetarily, right? But then are like, yo, I got like 2 divorces, my kid doesn't talk to me. Like,
Well, I think it's a fallacy of their success.
what do you guys find value in entertainment? Like, everyone has their own like entertainment value, like TV, Netflix, like XYZ, surfing. Like, what's your guys' like favorite form of entertainment? Like, clearly not America's Got Talent.
I mean, not being at America's Got Talent, right? Like, I'm not the type of person. You know how all those things have live tapings?
What do you mean?
Like all those live shows that have a live audience.
Like The Voice or like American Idol?
They're all live audiences, and they like give out tickets, or you could buy tickets to go to that. And there's people that are like die hard. Like, when I was there, they were like, raise your hand, how many people have been to every single taping this season? And like, it wasn't a lot, but like 10% of the crowd was like,
Oh,
I was like,
so
that
it's like they're
is
live.
not my type of
I mean,
stuff.
like, that's
their
like
thing.
the Dodgers or the Lakers, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah,
Are you guys sports
putting it into
fans?
perspective.
I get down with sports.
So he's talking shit about you, bro.
Well,
It's like, I don't get it.
I try to loop him into it.
First of all, he's not the type of guy going and watching
Yeah.
and going to every game die hard, right?
Just get down on some bets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
That makes it a little bit more
Oh,
exciting.
for sure. I feel like that's the only way to make it entertaining.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
started young. You started in high school, if that's the case.
Right.
Did you have like...
What's
Did you have like a bookie in high school?
No, but I all about like fantasy sports.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, tell me what the I guess the romance is in fantasy sports, because I don't get it.
You don't play?
No, I don't play.
it just makes everything a
You
lot
play as
more
well?
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in like a football league.
Yeah, we got one going. What's that, like 1 year now only, right? It was just this last year.
Yeah.
I have a league that I have my buddies from like high school at. It's got to be year 7, year 8.
Of
like
fantasy.
doing fantasy football.
Yeah, what's romantic about it? Like, what's fun about it?
Dude, I mean,
What joy do you
making
get out?
money.
it's like a bet. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: you don't make any money.
But you could bet on anything. Like, you could bet outside of like
Sure.
fantasy.
Yeah.
In fantasy, you have to wait all this time to win your money. Potentially not.
Well, I was gonna say the allure is the potential, but I've had one season in
watch
like
that
8
camera real quick.
seasons that I've made money.
You've had one,
In like 8 seasons, yeah.
so not very high ROI.
No.
Just entertainment value.
I think I'm 1-to-1. I'm even.
Okay.
You know, because it's like $100 every time we buy in, and I think I won. No, I think I'm up. I won $1,000 that season.
Okay.
So I'm up like $200.
For football?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Basketball, I don't understand fantasy. I don't know if you do fantasy basketball.
No.
It's like too much plug and play, like
Yeah.
going around. It's
Tell me
hard,
what
but-
you guys think about this. Like, I kind of cut out sports as well as movies as well as XYZ because, especially starting a business like you guys have, it's hard, dude. Like,
No, for sure.
it's just
It
hard.
takes you time.
And then if you want to be good at fantasy, right, you have to watch everything.
That's why football, and I've gotten to the point now because I'll do like daily fantasy sports. So it's like every week. It's like it's much more engaging, but I've gotten to a place where like I won't even watch the games because the stress and anxiety that comes along with it.
Sure.
Like, set your lineups and then hope you hit the jackpot that weekend.
I know, and then you're like all antsy during the week. I feel like that fucks with my attention in terms of, I don't know, podcasting or personal training or XYZ. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't do it enough. And the year I won, I always said it was like I put 0 effort into this, and that's why I won.
Oh.
Because I didn't overthink about it or overanalyze. I just kind of like set the lineup and forgot.
Can you explain? Like, I don't understand how the process of fantasy works. Like, it's not one team, right? You're not betting on one team to like win.
You build your team.
Yeah, you do like a draft or with like a bunch of friends, or
Okay.
I'll do like 5 or 6 different leagues throughout the season with just like random people on Yahoo. I feel like it's just like a diversification of my time. Like fitness is definitely takes up like the bulk of it. But it's fun, and
Like you get to choose like certain players, not
you pick like a player from different teams. Or you can like stack. There's like strategies of like stacking people. So if you know Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a great season, you're gonna take the same
like
receiver or tight end on his team because if he's gonna perform well, then one of those guys on his team is also.
So is it like all of those guys paired together, like their statistics?
You build your team.
Based on
and then it's
that?
like a weekly like performance of like how did all the guys on your team perform versus whoever you're paired up with that week.
Yeah.
And your points depend on like what your league sets points as.
Yeah.
So like you could do points for receptions, which is like a huge controversial take in fantasy. It's like, do you get a point every time your player catches the ball, or do you only get points versus based on the yards they get and if they score a touchdown?
Yeah.
Like if you go to different leagues, like it's super controversial.
Yeah, the rules are very.
Yeah, like,
What do you mean you go to different leagues? Like playing
like
separate.
in my Justin's league, we do points per catch, right?
Yeah.
In my other league, we only do 0.5 points per catch because half of us were like, nah, dude, that's like
so you guys get to
points.
decide the rules.
Yeah, so you have a league commissioner who builds the rule set.
Ah.
I mean, there's standard rules, but they can kind of edit it that way.
Yeah.
But then one guy could perform really well in one league, and then the other league, it's more of like a mid performance, just
That
based
sounds
on like how
too complicated for me.
It sounds too complicated. Back to
Again.
your original question about cutting out certain things.
Yeah.
I 100%. I don't play video games much anymore because it's like you got to sit there and spend 6 hours to make headway on a game, and I'm like, dude, like I don't got 6 hours. Like, or I have it. I'd rather build. I told my wife the other day, I was like, I'd rather build what I could build in a game in real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I feel like business is a game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like
100%.
I know you follow Hermosi a lot as well, you as well. And like he talks about attention, and I had all these things. I was talking Jamie before right before the podcast, and he was like, how are you bartending? And like he got a text message from me at 2 a.m. I was like, bro, like I cut out a ton of stuff and I feel better now. And like you could only get good at so many things. Like,
yeah, totally.
The thing is like the world has so many opportunities, or less the U.S. and like what do we do? Hello, friends. I hope you are enjoying the show. I just wanted to chime in and talk to you about Bucked Up. If you need more protein in your diet, creatine to aid your muscle growth as well as recovery, or pre-workout for your demanding sets during your workouts, Bucked Up has you covered. I use their Snickerdoodle protein and creatine monohydrate every single day. And on days I don't feel like working out, their BAMF nootropic pre-workout keeps me swinging kettlebells, running mountains, moving weight inside and outside the gym. If you'd like to try them out and save some money, use code NateBiltz1 for 20% off any order. And back to the show.
One of the biggest challenges with people in today's world is like distracting ourselves. Like it's so easy to just swipe on your phone for hours
100%.
or plug in the Netflix and crank out 5 TV shows.
What's your guys' phone time?
Oh, dude, it's egregious.
Per day.
But
He was like, that's what I'm talking
There's
about.
a correlation with business in that.
that's
though.
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That is one of those things where we allocate time, and I believe I use it for mostly business.
Me too. I think mine might be worse than yours.
Yeah?
Are you going to spit it out?
I don't, dude, I have to look at it. I have no idea.
Scared to look at it.
Mine's like average like 9 a day.
Okay, you probably got me beat.
Yeah.
I might be like close.
And I was like, does like FaceTime clients like count though?
That's the
like,
thing.
no, does that count
I
as
got
on
5
screen
hours.
time? That's not bad.
No, it's
Average?
not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, daily average 5 hours. It was down 13% the last week. So,
Yeah.
But like,
Well, I have friends who like, I guess we would call them the fitness influencers of the world, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend who's on it 13 hours average. Wow. And I was like, whoa, but that's her whole business.
I was gonna say it just depends. Like, what do you get out of it,
Yeah.
right? If are they making money off that? Is that like how they're living their life and like growing?
Isn't it kind of scary though? You look at the statistics, you're like only awake X hours,
And then you're on your phone.
You're like 9 of it's on this fucking phone.
Dude, 5 of it.
I
Like,
know.
of my day.
I feel so bad sometimes. I'm like, this cannot be good for us.
And then I look at like videos
Because it's
or articles of,
relatively
like,
new. Like
people like
the
this.
iPhone came out when I was in like what 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah, dude.
Or whenever that
I'd have
was.
been around that or like middle school.
What were people doing before the phone distractions came out?
Well, I feel bad because like I went home and saw my cousins who are like younger and they're just glued to their iPad all day.
Yeah.
Like they can't even talk to me. And I was like, whoa.
But like, are
that's
you
weird.
doing that? Because 9 hours.
I know, could
like,
be.
How much are you doing that to somebody else?
What do you mean?
Like, you're like, oh, they don't even talk to me. They spend all this time glued to their iPad. what about somebody else looking at you spending 9 hours? Like,
Dude,
on
I'm
your
at like
phone?
5, and I feel like that's bad.
For sure.
And there's
Yeah.
a productivity in there too.
But like, how much are you ignoring somebody in person where you're like that? Somebody might say the same thing about you, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
or even me.
like when we're
Like,
saying,
oh yeah, I walk in the room, and they're just on like, I can't believe that generation's on their phone. Like,
yeah,
You know, like, or your, what'd you say was your cousin?
yeah, my cousins.
She's like on her phone, on her iPad the whole time. What's her screen time? Is it 9 hours, 10 hours? Like,
I think it
might
could be just as
similar,
much,
right?
Fuck.
Exactly. They're kind of crazy.
But
you know?
it's in situations where like they're at the dinner table and it's just like that, or at a restaurant. I do a pretty good job of at least spacing time out. Like every time I go on a run, I leave the phone in the car. Anytime I go on a hike, phone in the car. Those certain areas to where I'm just totally unplugged.
That's good.
Well, here's another question on that note. You leave it on hikes in the car.
Yeah.
Are you if you're at the beach, you're playing music and like sitting there at the beach playing music and changing the energy?
What do you mean?
Or
changing
like, because
energy?
you're going on a hike without a phone, you're trying to disconnect.
Sure.
I'm talking about people like they'll go on runs and they have their speaker playing and they're
Yeah.
like, everyone's got to enjoy the music they're enjoying. Or I've talked to you about people on motorcycles that like drive around. It's like
With their speaker and
it's
stuff.
like, or at the beach. Like my wife and I were at the beach this weekend. It's like we
getting
found
nice,
a spot.
guys.
We found a spot, and it was like some guy was blasting their music. I was like, dude.
Oh,
Like, we come in here to disconnect. Is kind of what
Sure.
I was saying. Like, do you do that everywhere? Is it just hikes, just runs, or are you disconnecting anytime you go do an activity?
most activities. I feel like music is still a distraction of technology, right?
100%.
Like, and do you guys believe that music is cheating for running or for physical activity? Like, do you always work out with music?
I used to, and then I heard David Goggins talking about how
Dude,
you know,
pussy.
yeah, he's like,
Who's sharing the boys?
yeah, he's like, you're not gonna have music motivating you at all moments in life. He's
Yeah.
like, so he's like, do the hard stuff without the extra like.
So you started doing
stimulation.
no music?
Yeah.
How's that
I
going?
mean, my iPad or my AirPods broke too, so that was
Okay.
like an influence on it. But it's cool.
Are the
you know?
workouts just as good?
There,
You could say they're worse.
There was a phase where they were worse. But normally I'm getting it in at the gym, so
Yeah.
like we got it jamming up there.
How did you guys get into fitness? Just in general.
So I played ice hockey from
Ice
when I
hockey?
was 4 till about 30.
Were
Yeah.
they like punching kids back then too? Like,
No,
were they doing? I don't know. Like, I didn't grow up with
Probably,
hockey.
dude.
As you like,
Were you throwing hands with
Knowing the
gloves?
trend, how everything's gotten less violent, I'm sure like
Hockey's
growing
got
up
more.
like
As-
playing hockey.
as you like transition into like a teenager, then they start letting you like hit, and then like the fights
Okay.
happen.
Oh, really?
There was an epic
Teenager.
moment when I was a child
Oh,
where
this is real.
I was probably like 10 to 12 years old,
Yeah.
and in my hometown there was like a semi-pro hockey team.
Okay.
And what they would do during the intermissions of the periods is they would get all the kids out there playing a game. And my cousin was like, dude, you got to go out there and fight somebody. And I was like, yeah, sure.
What's the point of it though? Like, a lot of people look forward to it.
Like the
Fights.
That's why I go watch hockey.
Yeah.
Like, are they real? Are the fights real? Like, are they actually mad?
I mean, as like a 10-year-old, like it's not super intense, but I mean, nowadays, like
Dude, I love it.
I watch the NHL, and the game's gotten so much faster and more advanced that like the old,
Isn't
grinder
there a guy right now
Bruce,
that's like
yeah, and then this
known for it?
like in New York, they got this new guy. He's like 20 years old. And he comes in, he's got like more penalty minutes than times he's been on the ice, but he's like 6'6", and he just goes out there and crushes people and like tries fighting like the best guys on the team. And it's brought some extra like energy back to like that player in the league.
Yeah.
But over like the last 10 years, I was like starting to fade because you got to be so advanced in your skill set. You can't just be like a big guy out there trying to bully people around. But now like the big dudes are like getting more skilled, so it's fun.
So now they got a superpower. They're good and they can
and they're
fuck
massive.
you up.
yeah, exactly.
I think it's great. That's why I watch like going to a live hockey game
Yeah.
and seeing somebody brawl is the most exciting
yeah,
experience
they
I
I've
need
ever
to
had in
experience
sports.
that. Was
Yeah.
this in the U.S.?
Yeah. No, it was.
I don't know many hockey players
Oh,
from
man,
the
I grew up
U.S.
in
Yeah, I was
Heart.
Michigan. Like
Okay.
the hockey culture is pretty strong.
Oh, that
over
makes
there.
sense.
Yeah, Midwest is.
Are you a lover of making cocktails or work as a career or part-time bartender? If so, mix like a pro with A Bar Above. A Bar Above has the best mixing tools on the market, from shakers and strainers to mallets and ice picks. A Bar Above has you covered with all your cocktail needs. Use code BILTZ, BILTZ, for 10% off any order. So you said hockey got you into fitness.
Yeah.
Like, what were like hockey workouts like?
Just a lot of like power training,
Like
balance, like coordination
Cleans,
stuff.
power clean, stuff like that.
Yep, explosive drills. But just I think like always playing sports growing up kind of showed me that, you know, being fit is important, and like taking care of yourself and trying to always get better. There's like value in that. And
how did sports teach you that? Because as a kid you're just playing.
Yeah, but
you don't really think like, this is gonna be so healthy for me when I'm 60.
But as you get into like more competitive levels, then you see like, okay, if I'm working hard, I'm gonna be better than these other guys, and like you are a much more valuable asset to your team, and that's motivation for a lot of guys. Some people are doing it just because their parents want them to be playing sports.
Yeah.
But again, as you start growing up and you get into more like competitive leagues and get into college, like that gap of performance starts becoming much more prevalent, and that's like a fuel for motivation.
Oh, 100%. And confidence, right? When you get good at something, you're like, oh.
Yeah, then you know like you're the guy. Like you gotta perform. And like other people are like
you're known for
relying on
this.
you. Yeah, exactly. The game's tight. It's like you're the one that needs to get the puck to get shit done. So.
Yeah. Well, how did you get into fitness?
I'm going to tell a completely opposite story. And he knows I always do. I did every sport.
Every sport?
Yeah, I played soccer, basketball, football in some sort of league for my city. I wrestled competitively in high school, like through the school. Exceedingly average at sport.
Okay.
But,
exceedingly average. What do you mean by that?
I'm not the worst player on the team.
He's got a nice golf
swing. Dude, he went golfing with me the other day, and I told him, like, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll miss 1 out of every 5 swings, but I'm going to hit some good ones.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just keep playing. I enjoy sports. I do love it. I love, like, just being a part of the team and all that, and kind of playing and just that energy and all that. So I loved it. But I was always, like, very average, and that kind of motivated me to be like, all right, dude, I got to get better at something, you know? And so then when I started playing like or wrestling competitively in high school is when I first started like strength training for it. And then strength training, like wrestling was the best sport I ever did. Like I ended up hitting varsity, and like before I realized that I needed to go to college and have good grades and I wasn't going to be a pro wrestler, I was like actually getting good at it, and it correlated with like fitness. I never trained in the gym for a sport before that. It was just kind of like learning on the field and being coached by a coach there. And then I just kind of like dropped the wrestling but kept the training, and that just kept being a part of my life and building confidence there and like building a physique and like that kind of attributing to like, oh, I got a girlfriend now. I got like more confidence. I got more social confidence, and I was like, all right, like I like this. It feels good.
Before we continue this week's conversation, I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk to you about our friends at Mudwater. Their original blend is a coffee alternative made of 100% organic cacao, masala chai, turmeric, lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps to give you natural energy and focus without the jitters or crash. When I know I'm gonna have a long day ahead of me, I mix the Mudwater original blend with some whole milk and a couple drops of honey to elevate my day. In my opinion, it's more flavorful than a chai latte and is better fuel for my body. To elevate your day and get the benefits of coffee without the jitters or crash, click the link below to receive 20% off. And back to the show. I feel like the kids now are lifting weights at like first grade, second grade, like really delving in there. And I was like, I started lifting weights maybe, I think it was like 16, and it was because I tried to become a professional golfer for the longest time.
Okay, nice.
And my golf coach at the time was a retired Marine. And so we were like running track and like lifting weights at the gym for a golf team. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And there was this one guy, I feel super bad. He was really good on the golf course, and he was a bit heavier set dude. And he could not keep up with the workouts. So therefore he quit the golf team.
No, that's interesting.
And I was
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's shitty.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that too. It's just like the pressure of either the parents or like the coaching. Like, you gotta keep things fun and open for people, because if they do have the skill set, it's like you don't want to turn somebody off of something just because they're not checking one box.
Yeah, I guess it's a weird game in the sense of like you have to be fit for wrestling, you have to be fit for hockey, like or else
golf is interesting.
Yeah.
Like they would make you weight train.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
it's definitely way more of a technique.
Is it John Daly out there like
Sport.
crushing beers and
Yeah,
smoking
I don't know.
cigars?
It's a discipline thing. Like my golf coach, the biggest thing that I took away, we would if we showed 5 minutes early, that's 10 minutes late for him. And then he would make us run around the parking lot, these golfers. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it did instill every single time I'm on time. Like it gives you like traits that I wouldn't have
100%.
had if he didn't give it to us as a golf team. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't start weight training until high school
Okay.
with wrestling.
What was your guys' like first movements that you learned?
It is all the power clean stuff because wrestling, our strength and conditioning program was the same company that did the football teams. And there's just so much transferable skills. Like you need to be the first off the line in a wrestling match. You need to be like really quick, but you have to have the force to like outmaneuver the guy, right? Because you're like flex with somebody for 2 minutes, like then you need to hit a move quickly and take that guy out. So it was all power, like how get to the bottom of a squat, sit on the box, and explode up with chains, so it gets heavier as you go.
Oh shit!
I sucked at it.
Yeah.
I was not good at it. Like I didn't squat the heaviest to the team, like nothing.
I thought chains were all for show until I actually tried them.
You play around with it, you're like, all right, this is no joke.
I was like, this is actually pretty hard.
Yeah, that's good.
They also look really cool. I was like, The Rock always be wearing chains. I was like, bro, that's all show. Stop it.
But like the discipline thing is for real.
Yeah.
Because I was a very my brother's a straight A student, like smart dude, has a double engineering degree, like very intelligent guy, always was like that. And I was always the kid, like I preferred social environments, I preferred hanging out.
Yeah.
I did well enough, but then when I did wrestling and I had the crazy workouts and I had a similar coach, like 5 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah.
Like you're running laps around this. If you guys like fuck up the meet and perform poorly at the meet, we're doing like suicides on the basketball court. Like we're going hard that week because you guys don't deserve it. You guys don't have the discipline.
Yeah.
After that, my grades like
skyrocketed.
I was like committed to stuff. I was like, my parents talk about it to this day. Like it was just like 9-day turnaround. Like I cared about my future.
Yeah.
And it all stemmed from that, like just kicking my ass.
I feel like that's how it is with the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. It's like if you see the results of getting into shape or getting really good at hockey or becoming a real cool cook, like you get this confidence that you want to spread it in every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
100%. I think it's like, that's a very old-timey phrase. Because I've said it to people in like modern times, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And like people kind of like are like, that's stupid. Like you can be really good at something. There's like people that are super niched and a complete mess in the rest of their life.
Sure.
Right?
Well, I see that a lot with high-end celebrity clients or clients in general. They're really good monetarily, right? But then are like, yo, I got like 2 divorces. My kid doesn't talk to me. Like,
well, I think it's a fallacy of their success, right? Like
a fallacy of their success.
Like, people buy into like a successful person and then think they can do everything that person does and they'll be successful.
I guess
right?
You would have to start with what your definition is of success.
Well, let's say it's monetary, let's say it's fame, whatever it is, right? But people buy into somebody who has this profile and then want to do everything like them, right? And let's say it's like, not to diminish anything like smoking weed and all that, and like you can't, but it's like some people like do it so much and like, well, those people do it that are successful. You know, there's plenty of successful people that do it. And I would say like, I think those people are successful despite smoking weed, right? Some people might be like, oh, well, I don't. And that's just a random thing to pick up on. Not to, because I used to smoke a lot of weed too, and like I cut it out.
What was the reasoning?
Full transparency, my wife is a complete narc.
Okay. I don't even know what narc means.
Narc. My wife works for the LAPD.
Oh.
Literally.
Oh. So don't smoke weed in front of your wife.
Or drugs. But I've always had a proclivity towards drugs like my whole life. Like I've experimented, kind of whatever. I've been very lax with it. And my wife is somebody who, in a very good way, is like an opposite to me.
Okay.
And so she's not lax about it. So like for a long time it was like a contentious point in our relationship, and it just became a thing where I was like, this thing also doesn't really get me to where I want to be.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily impact me in a positive way that I can get from something else. So it just became a like, hey, I'll cut it out.
Has it helped?
Cutting it out? I think it's helped not, it kind of depends on what you ask, like what you define success as. Like, how do you define the help? Has it made me like a stupidly more productive person or anything, like change that? No. But I think like something I really got from it was like, you use this sometimes and it has like a brain numbing effect. And sometimes like I caught myself not processing things, right? Like I caught a pattern where I'd use weed more when I had a significant life change. For example,
like
starting this business.
Coping mechanism.
Yeah, it was just a coping mechanism. Like a huge change, smoke weed.
What were you saying about starting this business?
Like when I started this business, I had a time period for like probably the first 3-4 months that I was probably like consuming it more than I had been the prior like 2 years.
Like just stressful or what?
Well, just hey, we're up there painting for 6 hours. And it's like,
Let's get high while we paint.
Let's make this a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get lost in time. Like the one thing I do love about it, I get lost in time. So like I'll go for a run in the mountains and I'll just get lost on a run.
It's great for monotonous or like repetitive
tasks.
100%.
And it gets your brain going. For me, like I love cleaning while high. I love doing laundry.
Well, of course. I mean, dude,
like,
what's better?
But then, and you're just like thinking about, I don't know, it gets my creative juices going.
It does. And that's why I was like, I never want to like talk badly about it because there was positive elements that I thought I got from it too, right? Like I did feel more creative. Same tasks I loved doing, felt better. There was a period of time in high school where I worked out almost exclusively high. Like a solid year, I was like, I would always go high to the gym and I'd have a great workout session.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But at the same time, it's like I started to notice, like, you know, this is so kind of silly, stupid to talk about on like a pod at 29 years old, but like I had a breakup in high school going into college, and like that year going into college, I was smoking a ton of weed.
Yeah.
You know,
dude, high school breakups hit different though.
Dude,
like
it was the end of my world. You know, like this is it. Love of my life's gone. I'm done. You know, and it's like looking back and I'm like, dude, what an idiot.
I know.
This is like I was nobody. I had nothing. You know, and I don't know. Every time like I started to, this is through the work of like talking with a therapist while I was quitting, things like that. Like trying to analyze like, well, why did I even do it? Why did I feel like compelled to do it? And it was like that came up, right? Moments of transition and additional stress, additional worry. It just became one of those coping mechanisms. And I was like, well, I could be better if I learned what my brain was going through as opposed to just smoking weed and just kind of like chilling out. Like, oh, brain chill out. That's kind of what I was using it for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I got better.
I feel
right,
that.
to answer that.
So, wait, you guys painted that whole gym by yourself?
We did everything.
Everything.
Okay, explain to me what the process is of starting a gym in LA, because it sounds so scary to me.
Dude.
It is.
It's monumental. Scary,
because you were at Equinox, correct? And were you at Equinox as well?
I had left like a year before.
So you were at, and then where did you go?
I was training like all around town, going to people's homes.
Sweet.
And I had started to look into like getting like a smaller space for myself just to kind of centralize my business. Because, you know, running around town,
a lot of traffic.
Traffic, time, you're losing time commuting from one place to another. So just trying to centralize things. And over that year of just checking out real estate and learning about different lease terms and how everything works kind of gave me a little bit more comfort moving into it, to where like when me and Jamie connected, it was like, all right, like let's lock in something. And then when the right thing popped up, it was like,
so how did the idea come about?
It moved way too quickly, if I'm being honest. Like, people are surprised we built it. People honestly ask us, like, did you use a contractor, a designer, or something, whatever? It's like, no, dude. We kind of just, like, we ran way too fast with it.
Well, explain the process real quick.
Like, dude,
like, how did you get the space?
The process is super simple. I think I DM'd this dude because we hadn't seen each other in, like, probably a year.
So you guys weren't like hanging out like on the week or anything like that.
Like, dude, I knew him when I worked at Equinox. I was a manager at the location. He was a trainer.
Yeah.
We always had a good relationship. We always talked business. We always talked about like being productive, like kind of bettering ourselves, investing. And then when I left, I kept in touch here and there, but like we were just social media friends, right? And then it was like I knew from our conversations he had the headspace that I had, right? We kind of had the same motivation. And
can you give me like a characteristic of that motivation? Like, what characteristics did he have that you're like, oh, this would be a good partnership?
Well, dude, he's a very like dependable coach. Like when I was his manager, like I didn't have to manage him. Like it was like that's why like I said I was a manager at the gym and he was a trainer because like he did his own thing.
Yeah.
We talk in the office.
It's great. I mean, I was with the company for like 8 years,
Oh,
and
shit.
him coming in as a
Like a
younger
new manager.
dude and like never micromanaged me,
Oh.
but I got my shit done. So it was like a really
Good relationship.
yeah. It's like there was just no tension there, and
Yeah.
then when we did communicate, it was more about like, you know, side hustles we're trying to work on, or you know,
Like, I knew he
we're
was
investing. Like,
investing.
I was
Exactly.
like diving into the market deep, so I was just like bouncing ideas around of like what's the play,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was a relationship that we had. And even I was just talking to one of my clients about this the other day because we went to Topgolf, and I was like, I've maybe hung out with Jamie twice over the 5 years or so that we've known each other, where we've done something besides business.
Purely social.
Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, like I think we definitely respect each other a lot in that area, but
Yeah. Which is
going out,
not to say like we're not close.
No,
I feel like
yeah, it's like we can go out and
spend
have
a lot
some
of time
fun
together.
yeah.
And
I guess rewinding to the Equinox days, since you guys have been in the business for so long, what are the characteristics of a good trainer, and what are the characteristics of a good manager? And we'll start with
How about I say the trainer?
Okay.
Yeah.
and
You
go
say
the
the
manager.
manager. There you
That'd
go.
be better.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a good trainer is somebody who, like, has a singular focus, right? At least in the beginning.
What do you
like,
mean?
Like trainers that I've seen that are most successful come in to Equinox and are like, I want to do the best that I can do here first, right? So like I've seen many trainers come in and be like, I do modeling, I do singing, I do all these additional things.
Acting,
I'm
dancing.
gonna try to
Yoga
try to be
teacher.
a massively successful coach here. Like I wanna buy into the Equinox method, which is all in, right? And those coaches, not that they can't be successful, but 1 out of every 10 would hit it. But the coaches that I'd see that would hit it came in, they did all the workshops, they took the feedback from the coach, from the manager that was like, here's the blueprint to have success in this gym, and then they went and implemented it, and they did it day in, day out. They were reliable, they were consistent, they were timely, they were like also just uplifting people, positive personalities. They were not the most jacked person that had done it themselves and transformed their body. They were just somebody who was like reliable, dependable there, listened, was coachable, and applied it, right? And they just did it over and over again, right? Kind of like what you said earlier about with the UCI experience is like they had the mindset of getting the reps in. Like it didn't matter that they could get paid more elsewhere. They weren't distracted by the LA allure, right? The LA has so many things you can do. They came in with a singular focus of being a good coach, learning the processes and applying them, right? I don't know if that like, I don't know if that's like a good answer.
When you define, I guess, a good coach, are these coaches good technically as well? Like, do they get a lot of clients, or are they having success in transforming bodies or the health of people? Or is that what you're talking from as well? Like, or are you just defining a coach based on them being good at showing up on time, good attitude?
Well, here's the thing,
that
like,
type of vibe. Watch that camera real quick.
yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no worries.
Here's the thing about like defining. That's a great question. Like, are you a good coach because every single one of your clients has the transformation in 90 days, or are you a good coach because you built a sustainable business?
That's what I mean.
That you can make a living off of. I think it's the latter, and I think that being able to be a coach that can have a nice life where you have the money you want to make, that you feel comfortable, and that you can actually live off this career is more important than chasing the 90-day transformations, right? That's not to say that your clients shouldn't get results. Your clients should be experiencing changes. They should be feeling better. And the coaches that do that tend to have better retention. They tend to have longer businesses. They tend to have like all of it, right? It's just, it's not hyper focused on like all my clients have to have transformations in 90 days or I'm a bad coach. It's more so like, do I give my clients the social experience they want in the session, right? Am I a sociable, nice person to be around? Okay, they're going to want to be around you longer, right? Do I give them actual valuable information, right? Like when I'm in the session, am I giving them just cut and paste stuff that I see online? Or am I listening to their problems and going, you know what? I know I have an answer for this. Let me apply it, and actually giving them relief that they want, whether that's a transformation or pain, right? And then it's like the consistency, the reaching out, like, hey, you missed a couple sessions. Let's get you in here, right? The business nitty gritty. that's what makes a good coach, right? Because I don't know, you can be a good coach and have like no business. Sure, like you get one client and you do a great job of transforming them.
Yeah,
great. It's science.
Sure,
the thing is replicable if you do it over and over again.
Yeah,
what's hard is doing the business fundamentals of like maintaining the business, right, and being consistent, right. So in my opinion, you have to have the business side to claim you're a successful coach.
I feel like our business is very seasonal. Like a lot of people are like, I want to get shredded for summer. They work out really hard and they're like, oh, I'm done for a little bit. Yeah. And one thing that I realized, or I defined as a successful coach, just hearing your talk right now, is the retention rate, right? Mm-hmm. Like this person's been with me for like 7 years. All right. Like clearly it's more than just the science. It's this relationship, right? Yeah, it's this, I think that's friendship, dependability.
How many clients do you have and that have been with you for more than 3 years?
90% of them.
Really?
Yeah.
What's like 15, 20?
Most of my people have been with me for 7 years or so.
Yeah.
And I think that's, because I've worked in the corporate space and there's a lot of like turnover and new people coming in 100%. And some people come in with like, you know, a laundry list of like certifications and degrees and things.
when I see that, it's kind of scary.
But then there's not, it doesn't always like convert to being a successful coach.
Zero.
No. What I've found is just like, you know, the rapport that you build with your clients and, you know, giving them what they want, but also being supportive, connecting with them.
You got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, it's like, I don't mean to say that like not being, it doesn't matter if you're a knowledgeable coach or it doesn't matter if your clients get a transformation or not. Those things matter, but like
just
the long game
percentage of it,
is so much more about the relationship you build and just listening and adapting to the client.
Yeah. Like, being that guy for them.
What are your tips and tricks for I guess building that rapport?
One, you got to be, the professionalism of like showing up on time. You know, if somebody comes to you and
people say that a lot, but so many people don't show up on time.
Number one way I've seen people lose clients,
so they don't show up,
is being late, not showing up, whatever, dude. The amount of times I see it, I'm like, that's gone.
We see it a lot at the gym. Just like,
you see it a
clients like sitting there for 20 minutes and then the coach comes like running in.
We work with a lot of coaches, so I've seen all types of patterns and habits, and like, some of them do that and still have a successful business. So it's like, some of them, maybe it's because they're super knowledgeable, and the person trusts them. I don't know. There's many aspects to it, but it's shocking.
Yeah,
I think it's the number one way to lose a client.
So besides showing up on time,
people go through their seasons of the goals too. You know, it's like, hey, if somebody's like really trying to lose weight, it's like, okay, like let's take this up another notch besides just working out together. Like, let me put together like a nutrition program for you. Let's get you doing some like food logging. Let's find ways for you to stay active on days where you're not seeing me, or can I connect you with a Pilates instructor that could help you out
with mobility?
Exactly. Like so just finding like other ways to like give them value as they go along their journeys. Most of the clients I've worked with over the years are all injured and hurt themselves either working out with other coaches or working out on their own. So just kind of being a consistent guy that can provide that like fitness experience. So they're getting that done because they're high functioning professionals. It's like they know they need to delegate, this particular area to a professional, and then for me to be able to
that you don't know too much about.
Right.
Like, for example, I don't know too much about Olympic weightlifting. I'll feel kind of uncomfortable if someone's like, this is all I want to learn,
Yeah.
Like, I'm decent at a clean. Like, I'm decent at a snatch, but I'm not great at it.
But you could also, like, use that as an opportunity to be like, okay, like, hey, I'm going to learn some more about this, and, like, we're going to work on it together. And that's, like, the clients are going to respect that. Be like, all right, this is my guy. Like, he's looking out for me.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I had a client who he had an interest in cleans and all that, and we straight up put up YouTube videos in the gym of, like, power cleans and Olympic lifts going on, and like I know enough that I could like start to see it and start telling them like, hey, look, you see how they pop their hips, you see how they're shrugging up. Like I remember the coaching and cueing I got in high school from it.
Sure.
And I was like seeing it play out in these videos, and I was just able to walk him through that. Did he have like an Olympic level clean? No. But the guy was like, cool, I can do a clean, and it matches that form. I even videoed him, like it looks like that guy, so we could check the video. Like it was more of the, and I was gonna say what you were saying is like, it's like the listening to them in the session, right? Like I ask every single one of my clients, how are they feeling when they walk in? And once I start learning their trends, like I have a guy who's a 5 a.m.er who I'm like, I know he's got a new child, and I'm like, how are you sleeping? How's sleep? And then I'll judge what we do that session based on that. If he's like, I got terrible sleep, he knows that I'm going to run him through a very basic, very chill, low stress program. And he tells me like, dude, thank you so much for just adjusting, for like not, I don't know, just not being, he came from another gym who's like, we did the same things day in, day out, no matter what. And it was like, why am I paying this much for this? Whereas I'm like, you got great sleep? Great, dude. Let's crush it today. Like, let's go.
Have you had any problems sleeping or snoring? If so, hostage tape could be your answer. Mouth taping and only nasal breathing has shown to prevent snoring and offset sleep apnea. It brings more oxygen to the brain, gives more aesthetically pleasing craniofacial features, and improves your overall cardiovascular health. Give it a try at www.hostagetape.com and use code NATE49486 for 10% off. How do you guys go about programming? Because you said you adjusted, right? For me, I sit down at the end of my day. I look at my clients the next day. I look at what they did the prior few workouts. I'm not very good at remembering, so I have to write down every single workout, their stats, everything like that. And then I write a full workout program, and 90% of the time, it's that unless they say, I feel uncomfortable doing that.
So
there's different perspectives on this.
And I've been training for 12, 13 years now, and I've been super detailed in my programming, and that works with certain clients. But kind of like what you were saying with your guy, like if I have a client who's an attorney who's telling me he's sleeping like 4 hours a night and he's having another child come in and like his wife's out of town, he's holding it down with his kid that he has, it's like I can't program out for a month in advance knowing that knowing that there's those variables that are going to change, because he's not going to be able to perform at like a specific level. Now, if I have a kid who's a water polo athlete at USC and actually like wants to really increase his performance, then I know like the programming details need to be much more specific for him, because there's like measurable progress in that area that's a focus for him, that's correlated with like his results. So it's like each person's a little different. As I said, like I work with a lot of injured folks too, so it's like the repetitive physical therapy moves, and then also just trying to get them to move better with like functional patterns. Like, are they squatting better? Like, is changing up the loads there, different like variations. But over my career, I've kind of pulled back from being as detailed in my programming and being more adaptive to like who I'm working with and like how it correlates with the results.
Yeah.
I typically start new clients on like a 4-6 week program that I'll then update. And then once I get to know them enough, right? Like once I've had them in training with me for long enough, and I understand that I know where their progress is at, I know where their squats are at, I know what they're doing. Yeah. I can kind of gauge off of how they come in and how they feel when they come in, right? So I'm not like detailed programming every single client. Yeah. But I'll start off with templates and work like, okay, we have a 4-6 week strength series with this person because they want to increase their squat. I usually try to have a goal with them, and then like I'll use that template, and if they come into me and they're like, I can't do it, no problem. I can throw that out of the window and I can make a whole completely new session right there, because I know that's not going to work for you. Like, what's the point of going and trying to, 5x5 deadlift, and you told me you got 4 hours of sleep last night and you've had been at work all day sitting at a desk. Yeah.
Well, my counter argument to that is you could program like dead hangs, or how long they went for a dead hang, or you could program like a mobility exercise, and you looking back at their Cossack squat body weight to see how far their depth is, and knowing that and that you've worked on it will help you program like their next workout. It doesn't need to be loaded. It doesn't need to be a certain program. Yeah.
I think that's where like I make templates and I try to follow them until I know this client more in depth, and then I know where I'm taking them, right? And then I know the measurable spots where we were, and then I'm like, when a client, for example, I have this girl deadlifting right now, and she hit 126. Nice. 126 pound deadlift. She's like 115 pounds. Crushed it.
That's what's up.
Not even a month ago, she was doing 115. Right? Like I know those numbers because it's like,
you see it.
I see it. I don't have a huge portfolio of clients. I'm seeing like 20, 30 people in a given week. I'm seeing probably 10 to 15, and I can remember like what each person's at.
Yeah.
Because I've programmed enough here and there, and then I'm like, okay, I know where you're at, I know what we're doing today.
Yeah.
I know what we're working towards, right? And there's progress.
What's the patterns that you see for the coaches that you work with? Because you guys work with, how many coaches do you think you work with right now?
Like over 50.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's over a several month period. Right? It's not like every 50 coaches are coming in every single day. But
there's
yeah,
definitely coaches that like have their iPad or they're on their phone like checking their programming, and then there's a lot of people that I'm sure are just like freestyling it.
I would say the majority are probably freestyling it. Yeah, I think so. I try to avoid getting into the game of watching a coach and like almost like critiquing, because I feel
like you could learn from anybody though.
Yeah, but also like I'm not trying to like I mean you can definitely learn from everybody. I'm saying more of like critiquing, like like, oh, do they have a program or not? Like, what are they doing with that client? Is it smart? It's like there is a rhyme or a reason that I may not know that they're working on that move, right? Or like, there's a reason why that client has terrible form in that exercise, and it may not be that the coach doesn't care. It may be that the coaches try to cue that form for weeks, and that client has not changed. Yeah. And they've realized, and I'm a proponent of this, that it's simply not that dangerous with the form they currently have.
Yeah, that's one of my things. I'm like, hey, we're keeping it safe. Like,
if it's not dangerous, you have some variety of forms.
What's the hardest move that you guys try to ingrain in a client to get down form-wise?
Kettlebell swings.
Kettlebell swings?
Oh, dude.
I went through a Turkish get-up phase, and I was like, everybody needs to do these.
And I love them.
I was like,
I love those.
All right. Half you guys aren't going to be
doing
doing
a lot
this.
of people love Turkish get-ups.
No, for sure.
And I had a phase, same thing with clients, where I had every single client do a Turkish get-up.
I definitely think kettlebell swings is a lot easier than Turkish get-up.
For sure.
To cue up.
To cue?
Yeah.
But I feel like Turkish get-up is step by step by step. Having somebody actually know how to hinge and pop out of that swing.
I feel like if they know how to do a deadlift, they could be able to do a kettlebell swing properly.
I don't know, dude.
The amount of
sometimes I mean, I can get them to do it. It's just like it's one of those moves where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to take a moment of the session to make sure you get it right. Yeah. Like we had it in our small groups. And the first time I saw it in there, because he does the programming and for those sometimes, and I don't see it always. I straight up like we had 4 people. Yeah. I had everybody line up, and I was like, all right, we're going to each go exactly at the same time, and I'm going to break down each step before we do this circuit, right? And I went through it all with them, and then I went around giving them different cues, attaching a band, pulling through the band, right through the legs, all that stuff, until they all, in a matter of 10 minutes, they got it, right? And it was good. One of them still struggled with it, but I was like, as soon as I saw that in the program, I was like, all right, hold on, pause.
We scratched kettlebell swings.
Yeah, the next month I was like, dude, I don't think we should be teaching kettlebell swings in a group format.
It's tough.
To
with some of the
relative
coaches.
beginners to intermediate, and bringing on other coaches to teach this program, because I think I'm a pretty good coach. Yeah, I know how to cue just about every move pretty well, but I still don't feel like a high level of comfort that most people will get a kettlebell swing well.
That's the only thing. I feel super confident.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's my best thing. I do kettlebells all day.
Every day. I mean, dude, I love kettlebells. I don't do them every day anymore, but I was a huge kettlebell person. Yeah. What makes you so comfortable in the cueing process? What is your approach? I want to know.
I think it's because I taught every single one of my clients a kettlebell swing since I was 19. I'm 27 now.
You got the reps.
So I got the reps in. Yeah. And so like you learn how to cue it up properly, and the biggest thing is doing it over a phone. Because if you could do it over a phone, you know how to articulate your words properly enough to do so. You don't get to touch the person. You don't get to
harder. It's much harder.
It's way harder.
Yeah.
And so like I've seen so many kettlebell coaches cue it up that I feel confident enough, and also in my experience, to do so. Yeah. And you have to put it in a way that would make sense to them. Like if they don't understand hinge, like a lot of people don't know like what's a hinge.
That's what I'm saying. Like hinging is already like a trouble point in my training experience. Like most people struggle with that.
Once someone, if I'm with the person, right, I'm gonna say, let me pull your hips and don't do anything, right? So I pulled their hips and they're already in a hinge position. I was like, that's what a hinge is. You just did that. Okay. So now do that without a weight. I'm gonna put a band and You just got to
I
pull
like
through
the
your
band
hands.
approach a lot.
Band is cool. And then 2, you just got to feel the momentum of the bell, right? So the kettlebell out of any equipment is moving on like a pendulum, right? You're not pushing, you're not pulling, you're not doing, it's either rotating. It's a beautiful movement because piece of equipment, because you could push it, you could pull it, you could rotate it around your head, you could swing it, you could use it like a mace, you could do it in any single way. So like learning them just how to like, just, hey, you're gonna stand up, you're just gonna swing the bell 4 inches. And you're just going to feel that movement. You're like, okay, cool. Now just add that tiny hinge when I pull it back. Okay, now you got that down. Cool. Now we're going to make it bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
and
like
bigger.
that.
And now they're into the kettlebell swing within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to try that.
You try it out.
I like that.
Try it out.
I always hear like a different way to cue it, and I like to incorporate those.
Yeah.
That's why I ask. I also want to know, like, what's the average age of your, like, training clients? Yeah.
15 to 74. Yeah,
okay, you do it all over.
All over.
They don't skew any specific, like, majority of them are 15 to 30, some 70-year-olds.
No, there's all over.
Do you teach your 70-year-old to swing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Tiny pounds though, like 8-pound kettlebell.
You're challenging me now. Now I'm going to start
8-pound
incorporating more.
Yeah. Also, I don't start it without stability. So I do a lot of one leg balance stuff. This is probably my favorite leg workout for someone who's older. Do you guys have medicine balls at your gym?
Yeah.
What's the heaviest it goes to?
25.
Yeah.
25. Okay. So probably like 15 to 25 is a great way to do that. You stand on one leg, and all you do is kick the ball back and forth like a soccer ball. And then after 10 kicks, the other foot that's standing on is on fire.
Like you're just like passing it to yourself back and forth.
No, passing it back to your client.
Nice.
Oh, you literally kick it.
You just kick it back and forth, and the other leg's on fire. Next, you do it, you bring that ball, you use the other foot, and you bring it around the planted leg. So now it's working coordination with your brain.
Yeah.
It's working stability because you have to put it around your other foot. And then you have to kick it a 25-pound weight all the way across the other person. You can make it always harder by going further and further. And you're doing something with your client, which is an activity. It makes it a game.
I've literally never seen somebody do that in a gym.
I'm big on
which is
balance
pretty
training.
cool.
Like,
He does it a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why when you were saying single leg training, I was like, okay, I wonder how much it's similar to what you do. But I don't think I've ever seen you do that. That's like, it's unique.
good.
I like it.
And so, like, if you do it with like a 25-year-old, someone who's super athletic, now you kick the ball, and it's, for us, we have like up to 100-pound medicine ball, right? So you kick the ball, you have to kick it hard, right? And now let's try to pick it up. So what are you doing when you pick up a ball? You're basically doing a single leg RDL.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you're playing a game. It's way harder, but it's the same movement between a 24-year-old, 30-year-old, 50-year-old, 72-year-old. You just change that weight.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
What's the characteristics of a good manager?
Oh, yeah.
I think it varies for a coach because different people need different things. I mean, for me, I fortunately was like pretty successful in like the training business, like relatively like early in my career. So then to have somebody come in and like tell me that I have to do things a certain way, like I'm a bit more of like a passive seller, and it works for me. So then to have like a manager be like, no, you need to be like converting, like when you're doing an assessment or a consultation, I was like, no, I don't. You know, I'm like, you're like, maybe it gets my production, but like my systems work. So, the micromanaging, or even, you know, like you said, trainings has seasons. Like things slow down. Like I did, like if somebody starts like jumping down my back, being like, oh, you need to start doing all these different like prospecting methods and things. And it's like, I'm more concerned about my business than anybody else is. So like allow me to do what works for me, but then also coaches who are newer need probably more of that like support and guidance of, you know, how they should be doing things, or like how they can change what they're doing to be more successful.
You said you got successful as a coach pretty early on. What do you think? Because there's a lot of coaches out here who have 0 clients.
Yeah.
If they could have like 10, like you said, 10 certifications. I'm certified in TRX, kettlebells, powerlifting, XYZ, and they got like 1 client.
Yeah. So this is the thing for me. Like I started with Equinox, and it was really like the first corporate gym I worked
Was
at.
that the first gym that you worked at?
No, I worked at a much smaller facility in Chicago. It was like a gym that was like exclusive to the tenants in the high rise of the building, but it was like attorneys and like accountants, more like office people. And there was only 2 of us that were training, a female and myself. But I had maybe like 5 clients there as I started my career. And then I moved out to California and got into Equinox, and I was doing full-time numbers within 6 weeks, which is like really unheard of.
Oh, wow.
Because normally it's like a 6-month.
What is full-time numbers?
A lot. I was doing like 100 sessions a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in 6 weeks. And what it was is like I lived in Florence, and the gym that I was at was downtown Equinox, and I would go in at 5 or 6 a.m. My girlfriend at the time would like drop me off at work, and then she was at work till 6 p.m. and she was in Century City, so then she would like come over and pick me up. So I was at the gym from 5 or 6 a.m. till like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every like Monday through Friday, and then if I had like a shift on the weekends. So I was just hanging out all day and like talking to people. But in the corporate gym world, there's a bit of like a political system going on. I think like my management like recognized like, hey, this guy's up here like grinding, like investing a lot of his time, because like sometimes people go in for like a session and then they're like, oh, that's as much as I need to work for the day.
Yeah.
Myself, I was like, let me cover as many people's shifts as possible.
So how does that work? Like, how does the training system at Equinox work?
Ooh, we're on to talk about that.
You don't need to talk about it.
I mean,
so.
We don't love it.
Yeah, there's just some bad things that have happened since leaving.
Sure.
Some bad, situations.
I guess I just want to know about like how
the politics or whatever.
No, just like how were you so successful to get these clients so quickly than anyone else?
Well, so like one thing, I walked into the door and I was like, all right, who's crushing it up here? And like, let me talk to them and find out like what these guys are doing that's making them be successful. And there was this dude, Tim, and he broke down to me really well, because it was like the highest training price point I had sold. And he was like, you got to think of yourself as like the doctor. Like somebody makes an effort to go to the doctor to find out what's wrong with them. Like the doctor's like, take this pill or do X, Y, Z. That's how it's going to help you. He's like, you need to like sell training with that mindset. Somebody comes in, you find out what their problem is, and then you give it to them exactly what they need. And that works with the type of clientele, like the type A clients that are in Equinox.
Give me an example.
So like if somebody's like a executive and they're super busy, like for me to sit down and be like, hey, this is like the program details we're gonna go through, like this is what you need. It was more of like, okay, like you told me you need to lose 20 pounds and decrease your blood pressure. Like we're going to start training 4 times a week. I'm going to take over all the programming stuff. Like you're not going to have to worry about that. All I need you to do is like show up. And people respect it. That
a type A person that's executive that's like, what am I paying you for?
Yeah, it's like, no,
sees that
stuff. It's like, hey, like you got a problem, I got the solution. Like let's get this done.
Yeah.
Here's the rates. Like what works best, like which package option works best for you, and then running with it from there.
Yeah. How do you develop a clientele, I guess, for your coaches, not yourself, because you already have a developed roster at a not corporate, well-known gym?
You know what? That's $1 million question.
We were just talking about that on the drive over here on the phone, because we're like, how do we get coaches busier in our space? Yeah, without us doing all the selling.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what we have to do? We have to sell it and then be like, okay, here's a trainer.
I think starting from a perspective of like you said, how does it work at an Equinox or a corporate gym?
Because Justin knows, you just told me exactly what you did, right? To build your clientele at a certain, well-known, established spot, right?
And there's a thing there, like the selling that he knows, and then let's say like how you got it, it's like he was there, right? So back to the manager hat. And like what I would look for, it's like who was there, like who's dependable, who's reliable, who's present. If I have a coach who's like, I won a lot of clients, but they come in, they do the one session, they bounce. I have to be calling this dude on the phone. I have to see if he's gonna come in. It's LA. Odds are he's gonna say, 2 p.m. is good, then show up late. Whereas like he's in the gym, I just go over, find him, I go, I got a client for you at 3 p.m. That's it. Yeah, cool.
That's exactly how it was happening.
And it's like, if you're available, you're present, you're there, that manager is going to book you.
Is that how it works at FitHub right now? Like how does explain the FitHub systems?
So the contrast
for people out there.
First and foremost, FitHub is a place for independent coaches, right? We don't have a current promise of like, you come in we give you clients, right?
It's not that. It's already established coaches.
Our premise is this. We're in Central LA, right? Well, what people consider Central LA, right? It's like in between downtown and the west side, right? Right by the Grove. If you're a coach in that area, you may train at some gyms, but they're open member gyms, or you might train at a corporate gym, and you want to do your own thing. You need a space to do it at, and that's what we're trying to provide, right? And the space is no strings attached. It's not a commitment. There's no contracts. There's no like you're paying $800 up front to come in here and like coach, even if you don't know if you have that business. It's a la carte. You book a session, you come in, you book some filming, you come in, use the space, get comfortable with the space, you get a client, bring them in here, right? That's currently the standing model, right? We work with experienced coaches. We work with coaches that have their own business. What we do to help is we try to facilitate some of that content, right? From going to the corporate to the independent space, I've realized that I don't think you do a ton of selling on social media, but I think that when you do your selling, people can check your social media and kind of like to see that you have something, right? It's like a business card for you, right? And so like when we facilitate that content creation, it might be gimmicky stuff to like make people laugh and then go on your page. It also might be like educational like tips and tricks, right? To kind of circle back to your question, like what do we do? What's our model of getting leads? Like right now we're building that approach through learning, our small group training programs. Right now we're getting great organic like inflow, right? How has that been happening? Like,
are you guys teaching just the small groups, or is it you hire coaches to do so?
A little bit of both. We teach some of them. We've brought in coaches to do it, right? And so we started off with ads, right? Definitely anybody who's like, oh, it's all organic or nothing, it's kind of silly, right? Like,
so you've seen some success in ads, like Instagram ads.
Getting better every month.
Yeah,
every month.
Yeah, nice. And that's the thing. Jamie's getting better. It's been a struggle, man. There's been money spent.
Yeah.
There's been a month where we ran an ad, it did well. The same exact ad, we were like, let's run it the next month. Nothing. Right? It's weird. But then like retool and then do a new one and it does great, right?
Yeah.
The ad game is great. It costs money. You have to learn it. You have to do it. Something one of my clients told me, she's a digital marketing like vice president of a company, so she's very like well versed in ads and all that. It's like you can spend a lot of money before you figure it out, but you need to be conscious of like, what am I changing and why? What am I posting and why? What type of, if I was that person looking for that product, what would I look for, right?
Coming in from a customer standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's super important. But that plus once we have people in providing the great product, the great experience in our small groups, we've been getting referrals. Like that's been a huge focus. Every single class. Hey, I got two asks of you all that are in this group. First, if you like this, please, there's a QR code right when you're exiting, scan it, drop a review. Yeah. Number two, if you like it a lot and you refer a friend, we got a promo for you.
Is this just for coaches or for
this is
clients?
What we do offer incentives for coaches. We offer a coach, like if you refer another coach and they come to our gym, $150 we'll pay you, even if they just do one session.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you just refer a coach or bring them in, we know we got a pretty good facility. We can attract people. They'll like it when they're there. We have that incentive, but on the client lead perspective, this has been great. Like I think now that we've established the referrals, we have our landing page of our website, and we have people coming in and interacting with our social media. It's just generating, like we get submissions more than ever before, just organically, right? So we get the ad traffic, we get organic traffic to our site, and we get referrals now. Yeah. And that's been, I'd say it's like 40% ads, 30% referrals, 30% organic.
So that's kind of counterintuitive in the sense that you said the number one goal is to provide a space for coaches, and you're getting ads and marketing to clientele, not coaches.
Yeah, isn't that funny? I had a client like rip me apart one time telling me that like our marketing is not cohesive. Yeah. That people will look at us and not know what we do. Here's the thing.
Well, the thing is, that's why, like, for me, I was kind of confused. Yeah. Like, when I first went, I was like, I still don't understand the model of this. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And it's all learning. Yeah. I think from the way we break it down is this. When we're on Instagram and we're promoting product, it's been largely coach focused, right? We've done that because our approach.
Yes. Recently, I've seen on social media you posting other coaches doing their thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, that's like, we just want coaches to see that you can do, you come film content, you can come do online programs here, you can come do your sessions here. Like, our posting is largely geared towards coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Our ad game is 100% geared towards clients, right? And the perspective now that let's say the hypothesis we're testing is like, we got a good space, we're getting good traction with coaches. What do coaches value the most about going to a corporate setup or some other gym? It's leads, right? Like getting clients, right? And getting money. So we're trying to
coaches.
we want to fill that final gap, right? Like, I think the beginning perspective is a space, right, in the area where there wasn't other personal training gyms that are open, right? We're not, I mean, it's LA, like we're close to West Hollywood, but like we looked at our spot and we're like, hey, there's not a lot of personal training gyms that are in the Miracle Mile Mid-City area. Yeah. Right, cool. We solved that. And I've actually polled today, and I've polled in the past, like coaches that are training us, so why do you train here? A lot of it's location, right? And then content. That's something we stumbled upon. We're like, hey, we built a aesthetically appealing gym. And then we started getting people to hit us up. Hey, it's great to film. All the black lets our clothing contrast, whatever. Cool. And then I was like, hey, why don't we help coaches create content? And maybe that'll be a selling point. And to some coaches it is, right? And I think the final piece is the lead aspect. Like,
so how do you help coaches create content?
Right now, we run a monthly content day. Okay. So
like one day, all coaches come in to film?
Select coaches, right? Primarily coaches that are training in our gym.
Is JT training with you guys? I saw him in your gym.
JT does our online program work. Okay. Right? So he's mostly on the west side. So as far as in person, he's not coming to our gym, but like he's coming to the content day this Saturday that we're having. And he does something that we do. That's another little aspect that we're doing with the online programs. He got started with us on that, and then now been inviting him to the content day. I'm like, hey, dude, you're a part of our business. We want to support you. We know that to sell online programs, you need to be generating content. We have a videographer. You're going to have 30 minutes to an hour with this guy. I pre-plan some stuff. I'll find trending reels, trending audios, whatever, and I'll see if it matches what his page looks like. And then I'll tell him, like, hey, come in with some ideas. Come in with some stuff you want to capture. And then we've had different videographers, and the current videographer we have does like pretty good work. Like, we really like what aesthetic he puts together. And so he's kind of helping us like mature in that aspect, right? Like get better digital content out, right? Like some of the stuff we posted me on my iPhone, and it's like, I just tell him.
You can tell the difference?
Yeah. Yeah. I took him, I was like, dude, I know it looks like ritzy and like kind of stupid, and not ritzy, like ditzy and like stupid. Yeah. Like, it's like, I think I don't know, it's like authentic. Whatever, right?
Well, it's not just that. I feel like you're just practicing. There's so many people back to getting your reps in. Yes. Like for so long, I was just like, a lot of, I guess, people are like, oh, it's not good enough, this and that. And I was looking at it back the other day. I mean, I've been doing this podcast for 4 years now, and I used to record it on just an iPhone. And I'd be like, oh, this looks so shitty compared to what it is now.
But that's how we were talking about this the other like a week or two ago. It's like, that's how it should, you should always be able to
look back
your work and be like, all right, I've grown and I've gotten better.
It's proof. It gives you confidence that you could even get better.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I think like going back to my comment about being exceedingly average at sports is I never faulted myself or put too much pressure on the fact that like I wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I was like, I know if I do something for long enough, I get better at it.
Sure.
Right? Now, I didn't commit to that many sports for long enough, so I only got so good. But like, I know that if once I start hitting reps on something, I get better always. Yeah. Right. So, knock my content, whatever. My content's not A+.
We're getting there.
But I look at my first stuff.
What are the lessons that you guys learned so far in business?
Man, good question. You got about. I was like, I want to think about this. So like, there's a lot.
I've seen that there's always going to be some potential legal issues floating around. Like, if somebody's not coming after you, you're not grinding hard enough.
Yeah, I think on that perspective is like not being afraid in those circumstances, right? Like, there's gonna be bigger fish. There's gonna be people that you know, maybe were once like on your side or an ally, and then they're now like an enemy.
I
right?
guess
Like, don't be afraid of
what's
that.
the difference, or what was the romantic part of going out on your own? Because objectively looking at it, you were training a lot of Equinox, making good money there. You could have your benefits and just train clients and build really great relationships.
Yeah.
And like continue to do that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
For me, it's like bounce off the ceiling so many times. It's like, okay,
I mean,
how do you keep growing?
Matt is out
Yeah.
in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's, doing that for 8 years or so. It's like, okay, why am I only earning X amount when I could be earning twice as much, going into a new space or growing and learning some other skill sets that's going to help me, multiply my income.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And there's some fear, and step
A lot of
into
fear.
the unknown.
Yeah.
But
I sat down. Yeah. I sat down with my boss that like one day
Equinox.
doing the numbers, bouncing out, like, what's the limit here? Kind of getting an idea. I was a manager. Next step is like area manager, regional manager, regional director, whatever.
Whatever that
And I was like, yeah, well, then titles. But I was like, what's the income bump from that to that? What's the income bump from that to that? And I did the math, and I was like, I'm making 6 figures, right? Comfortable living. I will make, like, instead of 100,000 in 10 years, being a regional manager, let's say, because there's only like 3 positions available in like Southern California, so I'd have to relocate. I could make 170, maybe 200.
In 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as I like learned that, I was like, why would I do that for 10 years
Yeah.
to only earn marginally that much more money?
And it's not from 100 to 170. It's like 100 to 110.
Exactly.
115.
3%, a little 3% raise every year,
Yeah.
plus the position bump. And I was like, dude, I'm putting so much time and energy into this like product, and I'm doing a pretty good job of selling it. I'm 20. Like when we opened it up, I was 27. That's 2 years, or that's a year and a half. So yeah, 28. Why not do it on my own? Why not like take the risk, go out on my own? Like when you go out on your own, yes, there's the bust and you can go down to 0, but the ceiling is like.
So
however you
when you
take
had this thought, you hit Justin up on the DMs.
That's exactly, honestly, that might be the exact time. I was like, I saw him post something and it was like, yo, you want to open a gym?
Yeah.
And it kind of just like, all right, let's.
That's what you said.
It had to have been something similar.
How did it go from there?
Dude, I think we were like, hey, let's go get
set up time and
it's like your apartment in your downtown LA. We just set it up. We opened up the laptop. I was like, do some research. Show me what you got so far along your way. I'll show you what I've done.
What was the game plan?
Dude, it's like 1, find a location.
Okay.
Like 2, figure out an exit plan. Right. I was still at Equinox. Like, how do I get out of this and transition? He was like, let me consolidate my clients and like bring my clients together to go to one spot. Right. And like, what spot's going to be convenient? How much overhead can we afford? Like all that stuff, like basic. It was just like,
In terms of funding, you guys have an investor, correct?
yeah.
Yeah. How does someone find an investor for a business? So many people are just like, how do I get money?
All right, look.
like the clientele that we had worked with. I think that's a perk of being at Equinox is you get like a certain individual who's comfortable spending $300 on a gym membership and paying $150
a session
for personal training. So like you start only being around people who are comfortable with like
a lot of money
like that. Yeah,
So you gotta ask to answer your question.
Yeah,
you just
that's I feel like that's the scariest thing. Is like
scariest thing is to ask, and you just gotta ask.
Like, how did you ask? Like, were you like, hey, I'm trying to open up my gym. Would you be down to fund it?
Dude, the funny part is like I didn't even think that this person would invest. It was I had the meeting, we had the idea, and when we were going back and forth on it, like through messages, through when we met a handful of times, I could tell that he was like, well, kind of just want a space for myself to train. It makes the most sense. And then we can open it up to other coaches to use their spot. And then I was like, dude, why don't we like go a little bigger with it, right? Like, why don't we like make it a spot for coaches to come train in, right? Like we do our sessions, of course, but like get more capacity so like we can fill it up with other coaches and like make more money, like not just from our training, right? And then it was like the space we found, it was like, well, this got this extra room in the back. Why don't we, like, our clients like Pilates a lot. Why don't we add Pilates to it? Because, like, we can cross-sell and refer and, like, add additional ability there. Right? We could have put more equipment there, sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, we can add a whole nother dynamic and get Pilates coaches, right? And it just started to grow. And then I was just talking to my client, like, casually about the idea. And I was like, yeah, it's got not much overhead. We're not going to have a front desk person. We're not going to have, like, all this other stuff that you see at these other gyms. It's just going to be the rent. It's going to be us. And then we'll just work on attracting coaches. I have a network of people I've met. You know, I worked at 3 different locations at that point. Like, I knew, you know, each gym had like 20, 30 coaches. I was like, I know enough coaches that, you know, some of them, a lot of them no longer with Equinox, but like, I know a lot of coaches at this point. I think we could fill it up with our own network. And he looked at me and he just goes, I really like the idea. Let me know when you're ready. And I was like,
Put together the business plan.
and then I ran to him. I think I texted him probably right away, like, bro, we got to put this together, you know?
Did you guys do a pitch deck and everything? Like you ran the numbers, did all that for you?
We did like a pro forma, like statements. You know, I've wanted to be in my own business my whole life. I did a lot of startups in college and like made business plans, things like that. And so when this happened, I was like, you know, when people say like, oh, why did I take those classes in college and learn all this stuff? And like, I'm never going to use, like, I just did business administration.
Okay.
So I did like, again, it was like, sometimes I did accounting classes and I was like, so I'm not going to do any of this accounting or like.
That is one class that I wish I paid attention to more. Go back it out.
I wish I still paid attention to more because I fell asleep on audit. It's hard, boring. But then when he told me like put this together, I was like, dude, I've done this.
Oh, I know how to do this.
Let me make these numbers up because it's like all projections. It's all kind of like fake numbers. Obviously, there's some basis for it, but it's like fabricated. And then he's I mean, this is probably one of the best investors you could have as a first time entrepreneur, like kind of like the way his approach is. Because I remember submitting the business plan to him, and then him just being like, I'm going to give you feedback on it. I want you to read it.
He's probably a good businessman himself.
Great guy to have on.
Great businessman.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to give you feedback on it. I want you to redo it and then submit it again, and I'll keep reiterating with you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then I want you to make a pitch deck. Just keep it simple, presentation, things that matter. Like, businessman, I'll read through it. That's fine. You know, and then, you know, we went through the steps, met with him a couple times. Thing that really accelerated is that Justin found our location because we were like, all right, everything's kind of on hold until we have that, right? Like, until we know the spot, what the numbers are related to. That's about like how much does it cost to be in that location. Everything else kind of plays off that. So I think it was like a week. Like I was like, all right, you're in charge. Like, find the spot for us, like, and then we'll go, and I'll set up the meeting.
Just that easy. Find that.
I'll set up, yeah.
Find
that. Well, dude, it ended up being that easy. Like, not even a week later, he's like, yo, let's go check out the spot. It looks pretty dope. And then we met, like, and we went in there. I was like, dude, this space is huge.
So, what was the time frame from finding a spot to it opening?
3-4 months, not 6 months, bro. It was October.
Well, what? We started in October and we were open January. So
yeah, October, November, December, 4 months.
And how do you guys found the equipment? Like, did you guys install everything yourselves?
Everything, 100% top to bottom, everything you see in there. Every single like inch of that gym that you see was we made.
What are the lessons that you've learned from this investor, this guy on your team?
Oh, dude. I mean, I've trained him for 3 years now, going on 4. I mean, from a philosophical level, it's like I asked the guy when I first met him, was like, what's your stress level? And this guy's like a high level executive, like been in banking for like, he's like, I was like, this guy's got to have stress level through the roof. He answers 3 out of 10. And I looked at him and I was like, all right, but like, seriously, he'll tell me like, you're taking a call at 4 a.m. because you got to do business with some guy in like Hong Kong. And then you're up till like midnight, 1 a.m. the next day because you have a call with like London, whatever, like the schedule is. And you're only getting that much sleep, and then you have to go to work and you have kids, whatever. Your stress level is a 3. He goes, yep. Pretty good.
What was the reasoning for that, or what did he attribute it to?
He says that once you have skin in the game, it becomes fun. And so he's like, then it's a game, and he's like, it's not emotions, it's not anything. It's logical, it's numbers, it's just playing the game and then figuring out what works. Yeah. You know, and he just has a game of, like what we said at the beginning, a gamification of it. where he's not stressing. He's like, it's numbers. It either makes
you guys have like a to-do list. So like how I gamify it is, at least for me, I have like a whiteboard hidden underneath this projector.
You love the whiteboard.
Oh, well, I won't. And I just have a list of like, here's social media, here's website stuff, here's business stuff, and I write my hierarchy board of like 1 through 10, and I'm like, just start getting after it. Like that's how I do it. What's your guys' process?
I think we both have different processes, which is like another thing learning wise, and things we learned is like we're both different people that complement each other with the differences, right?
Okay.
So
well,
if you want to,
if you guys have the same skill set, it wouldn't make sense for you to be partners.
100%. So I don't know. You want to go through your process? Like a very different.
I got the massive whiteboard in the bedroom, and I got
Love it.
the monthly to-do list, and just also like the things I'm working on in the single day.
Yeah,
keep fresh in my mind. And then we have meetings pretty regularly on like what needs to be addressed, and throughout building this business, we've put together some like timeline projections of like what needs to happen in order to move on to the next step. But also just kind of us being very contrasting in terms of like how we things done, and like how we, what's the stress level behind the urgency and whatnot. Like,
I'll usually do things, and then Justin will be like, it would probably be better this way. I'm like, yeah, you're right. All right, let's do it.
So you're like the action guy, like you will just go start.
I'm definitely like
go getter.
I'm definitely, and if because like we have standing meetings, but we don't always do them, right? Like life happens. I told Justin, I was like, look, I'd love to wait for your input, but I get this itch to just do something. It's like, if you don't make it to that standing meeting that day, and I have an idea that I'm doing it, I'm doing it.
And you're cool with it.
Which, yes, that's
sometimes.
I've definitely learned. It's just been a learning of like, okay, when do I need to like interject myself?
Yeah. And I learned to pull back. I'm like, I don't need to act on this idea. Okay. Although I think it's great.
Sure.
I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna try to get this man on the phone in the next 24 to 48 hours, because I could probably only last like 48, 72 maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I have a conversation with this guy, because usually when we do that, and that's the thing we've learned, it's like, not usually, like every time when we do that, the idea gets better. Like it just does, like always.
He's the idea guy, and then we find it.
Yeah. Are you guys, is it just you three, I guess, as the team? Do you have anyone else employed underneath you?
It's us three, really. We recently brought on an assistant kind of function just to, as we're building out these ads, as we're getting this traffic, I think one of the things we notice is like, we have full-time training businesses. We are also running these small groups now. We're trying to coordinate with coaches. Leads were falling through the cracks, like things like collecting waivers, collecting insurances started to fall through the cracks. So like we need to like have somebody just constantly going through this. Or like reviewing coaches' booking sessions. Like it's largely an independent process. There wasn't a lot of oversight. And so now this person's like checking the camera, checking the sessions, like doing those types of things. So we brought that person on.
It's a lot because you have your own clients. Now you have to run this business and do all the ad work and everything like that. I'm running through a similar situation with the podcast. The forms that I had you guys sent out for waivers and everything. It goes to my manager's email. She checks all of them. You're like, they're good to go. Yep. And I don't even need to worry about it.
Yeah.
And they've put it on the website and everything like that.
This last month, that's been a critical turn.
And it brings your stress level so much further down, because back to legalities, if you have your insurance, you don't figure out.
Or if it's expired. We collected sometimes, but like we had somebody a long time ago kind of set some framework up for us that like we weren't getting to it. So when I opened it up, I'm like, half of these things are expired. Like we had to collect it originally. We do a good job on that front end, but like, do we remember after a 30-hour week of sessions plus 20, 30 hours of like gym work to go check this list?
Yeah.
No.
As the business grows, it's like some of the tasks become super repetitive, and things need to be done every day and every week. And it's hard to keep investing time and doing that while strategizing, grow, and like, coming up with systems to be able to delegate that to, another employee, where it's like a repeatable task.
But right now it's just us,
What's your favorite part of entrepreneurship, and what's the worst part?
Dude, I'm gonna try to quote Hermosi right now, and like the biggest, because I felt this really to my core, like the biggest pain of being an entrepreneur is all of the known costs for unexpected outcomes.
Yeah, all the known costs.
Like I know how many hours I'm working.
Yeah.
I know how much money I've spent on ads.
Yeah.
I know how much money I've spent paying, like, I know the videographer, you know, from paying the rent overhead. Like, we used to contribute to the gym monthly like for our own coaching. Like, we would pay the gym as independent coaches, right? I know all of that amount spent, and there's still no certainty in the outcome, right? Like, tomorrow, somebody could just, like, drive through the gym and we'll enter the business. Like, literally a car just off Fairfax could just run into the business and we're, like, closed for however long it takes to fix that, and there's no money, right? Like, it's hard, but that's like the biggest pain point for me. The biggest bright side is, like, I have ADHD. I've increasingly learned about ADHD. And, like, just the constant search for dopamine. And I think, like, for me, like, that's truly what drives me. Like, I'm looking for a dopamine hit, right? Like, not to sound like an addict, but, like, I know that that's what my brain's doing. Like, half the things I'm doing, like, and I genuinely, like, what my therapist had told me is, like, it's okay if you do it through things that actually are positive to you.
They're working out.
Like, working out, exactly. I know that when I work out on a consistent basis, I feel way better. And it's not just from, like, a normal, like, process that every human is, but, like, from my dopamine or from my ADHD.
Probably felt good at that 405 deadlift last week.
Felt fantastic, dude. Fantastic. Like, thank you.
4 plates up.
You know, I'm trying to keep up with this guy over here. He's really pushed me in the last month. Like, it was a month ago, I was doing like 315.
Oh, wow.
And, like, this guy's over here, like, he was I think he repped the 405 that one day. And he was just repped it. I was like, damn, this guy weighs less than me. And he's out here crushing weight above me. I was like, damn, I got to improve. Yeah. So, but anyways, like, I think that, like, for me is the biggest thing. It's, like, chasing that, like, I want the reward in a positive way. I want to grow a business. I want to feel like I did something, I impacted something, I created something, and I got that, like, ultimate dopamine rush of, like, creating something and doing something, you know?
How about you, Justin?
Yeah. As an entrepreneur, I think, like, the risk and the reward is just, like, having all the pressure on me. Like, sink or swim. Like, I want that to be in my hands over anybody else.
Like, you want to have the cards.
Yeah, because I know, like, I have no other choice but to make shit happen. Yeah. So, like, that's all I need. I know when I need to put my foot on the gas pedal a little bit more, and I also know when I can, you know, make sure I have, like, a balance in my life of stressing myself out with business and growth, or, you know, just kind of create a balance. I feel like entrepreneurship, like, enables you to, you know, really thrive or crumble with that pressure. And
yeah, a lot of businesses fail, right? All those statistics is, like, I don't even know, it's way more than 50%.
I think it's like in 3 years, it's like 90%.
Yeah, like 90% of businesses, like, full in the first couple of years. So.
What's your guys' fitness routine now, since it's just a totally different lifestyle? Like, before, at least for me, it was just clients. And you're just working in that hour gap in between here and there. Yeah, get it in.
I mean, it's still kind of like a get it in. I think we've carved out more time.
Building out the gym was a different time frame for us.
I think we were the least fit. We were like,
I seen the first video that I made at FitHub, and I'm like, damn, I was small. And then now it's like, I mean, this year, like, we're crushing it. We got other coaches who work out with us. Yeah. There's, like, some camaraderie up there of, like, everybody trying to motivate each other, right? Keep each other showing up on all the days.
But it is kind of like still like a get it in type of approach. Like, you'll text you that now with routine. It's like, you lifting today? I'm like, yeah, I got these times. He's like, cool, I got these times. All right, syncs up, we're good.
Yeah.
You know?
Today, like, I was texting him this morning, like, trying to lift, and he's like, yeah, I got a time at 12:30. And I went home, had a massive breakfast, and then, like, put some meditation stuff on, passed out. And I woke up and I was like,
yeah, bro, I was lifting, you know?
We lifted right now.
I was like, lifting, you know? That's close to your house. You
I need to get my 405 for reps, bro. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, I wish, I don't know, do you have a set routine? You have, like, a
right now
new program for yourself?
Yeah. I just got done with my powerlifting block. So
that's right. You did the competition.
The competition. Yeah. I hit 451 on my deadlift.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I was only weighing 164.
Yeah, you guys are killing me.
But right now, I'm just focused on learning a lot. So, and building my brand. I got my hat built different over here. Yeah, it's basically bars, bells, and trails. So, like, I'm really good at, like, kettlebells now, and I realized that a lot of people like kettlebells. And I just started getting into, like, ultra marathon running with, like, the group that I'm at right now.
and I basically know all the mountains in like the Glendale, Burbank area.
Nice, dude.
And sometimes, I don't know, but like someone doesn't want to work out at the gym. I'll be like, hey guys, do you want to do a session like in the mountains? Like we'll carry like a ball up the hill and we'll just talk, you know, and
You actually do that? You've done it with some people?
I do with a lot of my clients.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah. So it's like you take that outside, you know, you get a little toasty.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no, you're good. I had to turn the AC off because of the sound. But yeah, programming wise for me, for myself, I try to get good at a skill that I don't know. So I'm really good at, I buy coaches who I value their work. If that's kettlebells, if that's barbells, if that's mace work, if that's a bodybuilding program. And I look at these courses that I have and be like, what don't I know right now? And I'm just trying to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely about programs.
So like, for example, I have this guy, the Crazy Trainer. I bought his
nice
program. It's all kettlebells. And like, I'll look through it and be like, I know all this. I don't know this. I'm going to work on it for the week. Jeff Nippert, his bodybuilding program. If you guys know who he is at all? Jeff Nippert? No. Big guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
Bought it. I was like, okay, like I know this aspect of bodybuilding. I've never tried this rep scheme. So I'm only going to do, for example, he went over Sam Solik's.
I'm not too big in the bodybuilding like world.
So Sam Solik is the #1 fitness YouTuber in the world right now, I believe. And Jeff Nippert went over his rep schemes. He posts every single workout every single day on YouTube. And it's just from like a phone, and he doesn't edit anything. It's all raw.
Yeah. And
he's the most followed fitness guy in the world right now. And he analyzed it, and he basically was like, this is his rep scheme. He hits triceps 40% of the time, legs this time, XYZ, and this is his rep scheme. He only does 3 to 6 reps, right? I'm not giving the exact numbers.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I've never done tricep extensions for only 3 to 6 reps.
So you like that stuff.
Right? Like I usually do hypertrophy of 12 to 15 reps,
same.
like that 8 to 15 reps. And I was like, that's interesting. Let me try it. And I do it. I'm like, oh, I understand it, you know?
Yeah.
But like, because so everyone, at least for me, I like training a certain way.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing. But there's so many different ways of fitness.
Sure.
Like sometimes like I learned the kicking the ball thing from this trainer I know, Matt. I was like, why are you kicking the ball? Try it, bro. I was like, this is so hard. You know? So that's my
I feel like I've gone through different seasons of like what I like to do and now incorporating all of it. Like I'm in definitely a heavy lifting phase.
Yeah.
And just wanting to do like heavy weights. Try to get like just the objective is like I did 405 last week. Can I do 415 this week? You know, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Huh?
So you'll get there.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like you just said, the objective is like just the incremental.
That's the game too.
It's just the incremental improvement, right? But I've had like what got me into like deep into like right when I was kicking off my training career was what's his name? Primal Soldier.
Oh yeah.
Same kind of setup. He's at On It. Right. I bought his program.
Okay.
Started practicing it all. Everything was just crazy. It was just the craziest like combos with kettlebells. I loved it. It wasn't flipping bells back then, which is just nuts. I discovered that this year. Actually, with you was the first time I did it.
Okay.
That got me into it. Then I got a coach at the gym was doing calisthenics, and he's like, "Yo, I do Power Monkey Fitness. I do their programs. I'll share with you like." This is not, don't do this, buy coaches programs. He's like, I'll share with you their login.
Okay.
I was like, okay, cool.
Buy their programs, guys.
Buy their
do it the right way.
Yeah. I regret it. Now knowing how hard it is as a coach, buy their program. I did all calisthenics, handstands, ring work. Like that's where I learned all that. I was like getting muscle ups, like all that. And then, just progress.
People sleep on calisthenics. I think it's hard, bro.
So hard. It's impressive. Like that whole program I did like 3 months and it was like
ring
all
dips, so hard.
Yeah, it was all dips, it was all push-ups, it was all like handstand work, handstand push-up stuff. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done, and I paired it with like some heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I got into trail runs, which is why I'm actually interested. I don't know about the ultra life.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know about there.
You know what sandal life? We've been running in sandals, bro. I did my first ultra marathon in these Mazzatli sandals that or it's like 2 rings and then a strap in the back. I did 30 miles with sandals on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You just go out and run 30 miles.
I mean, it was a sanctioned race. I didn't just decide that.
No, but I'm saying like you just hit 30 miles like because I know you lift a lot, you power lift, But then also the fact that you powerlift and then can go hit endurance.
It's not the smartest for sure. Like if I wanted to get really good at endurance running, like I just do that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
If I just wanted to get good at strength, I do that for a long period of time. So I knew like 2 weeks before the powerlifting meet, or not, probably 4 weeks before the powerlifting meet, I did like a half marathon, and then it's not the smartest for sure.
I don't think that's in the training protocol.
It's not, but like I just wanted to see what my body's capable of and how many cool things I could do.
Right? 100%. Like, and I the reason I've been lifting heavy right now is like I want to get back into the endurance.
Yeah.
But I've been telling people like I want to be the most jacked person doing the endurance.
100%.
Like, I'd like to be 200 pounds doing like a triathlon, and then everyone else is thin doing the triathlon. Like they look shredded and all that, but I'm like beefy. I'm over here like, yeah, dude. I'm running with you.
Bro, ultra marathoners are different. They don't look fit.
Yeah.
So like I see people out here, they're pretty heavy set, maybe a short person, and they are just going.
Dude,
they're just going.
I saw, when I was out in the mountains, I saw some trail runners. Yeah. And trail runners tend to be ultra marathoners too, right? Like that's where you kind of go hit the long distances. They didn't look like athletic at all.
They don't.
But they were out there. I was walking up this trail and they were just cruising on a run. I was like, dude.
They don't look fit. Out that you see like overset moms, you see skinny people. The biggest thing is like these guys are in their like 50s, 60s still. I'm just like, and it's all mental, bro.
You know what correlates with age? Like, have you ever read that? It correlates, like endurance training correlates better with age.
I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, do you get more type 1 fibers you tend to have? They say, like, I think I heard this on like a Huberman pod, is like, they will be better.
Yeah.
The 50, 60-year-olds, they will be better at triathlons. That's why like ultra marathons skew older.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see anyone young. I was
like triathletes.
They skew older. It's all like
Ironman too.
Yeah. You get better. You can get better with age on that because your muscles get better at endurance over time.
What's your guys' favorite movement, and what do you think is the most important movement for fitness? So I guess favorite movement and most important.
Well, I love
favorite movement. Pull-ups.
Pull-ups?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some pull-ups.
What's your rep max?
I did 135 hanging out me the other day.
No, rep max.
Oh, you're not doing it for reps. He's trying to do weight on it.
Probably crush like 30, 40.
Yeah?
30, 40. I was trying to hit 50 for the longest time. I got 33 max 2 years ago, and then I just kept plateauing there. I was like,
hey, load it up, man.
Loading up? 135 pounds? What's that? How many plates?
Dude, that's too many plates.
I'm going to rip my bicep. You're like,
you're literally pulling up another person.
With the ego attached to that.
A little bit.
I mean, most important move I would say is like deadlifting.
Deadlifting.
Put everything in there. People gotta know how to hinge. Like, I work with enough people who broke his spines and like, okay, again. Don't blow your back out like picking your chin up off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'd say most important is like either a deadlift or a squat. I just think it's just like you need that. Like a loaded movement that involves your upper body and legs is like everything. Right? I don't know if I can answer the favorite moves.
You don't have one?
I don't think I have one. Is there something I do in the gym? Like right now, it's definitely deadlifts, but that's just of the ego. Yeah, but dude, that's just my pain.
What, the TRX?
No, IYTs. I rip.
IYTs with
I
the
rip
TRX?
the same warm up routine.
it's like pro.
Every time. Yeah, prone IYTs.
Yeah.
I rip the same warm up.
Oh, one back.
No, it's floor. Yoga mat.
Okay.
Face down, forehead into the ground.
No weight.
Extended. Sometimes I'll have 2.5 plates.
Okay.
I
love those.
Dude, they're incredible. I just had
so much. Since so good at. Please keep progressing because it's like a good rehab move.
He's like, that's like a backhanded compliment. It's complimenting me, but it's also laughing because this dude would be like, dude, just lift heavy. Just go in there, put the weight on, and just fucking lift it. And I'm like, dude, I get migraines with like my freaking neck pain. And I went through a physical therapist. I did.
What's wrong with your neck?
Dude, who knows? Like right now, the running theory is, and this is like Moon, which is another coach that we work with. That's like just an incredibly intelligent dude.
Yes.
That my internal rotation is just bad on my right shoulder. And I think it just tightens up this whole chain and it just pulls on it. It's just like when I do a lot of pressing, a lot of pulling, like even especially handstand work, it just gets so tight that I get like tension all the way through the cranium, whatever, down to my eye and like splitting headaches. I can't function. The other day I told them I can't come in. Like,
Do you guys do any trigger point stuff?
Dude, I take a lacrosse ball to the back. Again, that's why I say this is running theory. When I was at Equinox, I started to first exhibit it, like in the last location I was at. coach that I trust a lot, super talented guy, got me. I was like in so much pain that day. He got 2 lacrosse balls, sat me down, showed me like the routine, lift the hips up, the IYT type stuff, but like with the ball there, amazing, solved it. Then he came back, right? Then physical therapist gave me these moves. Then I saw I took the pain-free performance cert.
Oh, with that
No, but I got her on it.
Okay.
I did it with the same PT that she worked with though, because they send different people. And I asked that guy, picked his brain. He kind of gave me some cues. And then, I just picking things up from people how to solve my pain now and have like the mix all together.
Yeah.
And I've realized if I do this routine every single time I want to lift, the pain stays away.
The body's so interesting because I feel like no one really knows. Like,
It works for somebody. It might not.
No, work for
somebody
else.
Everybody's told me this is going to solve it.
Yeah.
I went to a physical
How can
therapist.
someone say so confidently that this is going to solve it?
Like, that's some selling tips right there. Just give people the prescription. Buy.
I mean, there's a certain thing for the prescription. I was like, hey, like, you eat this way and we do these meals, you will lose weight.
I mean, dude, most of the cases, I feel like it works, right? It's like why a doctor is always giving you the simplest answer.
Yeah.
80% of the time, it's the simplest answer, right? But dude, everyone's told me like, this is it.
Yeah.
It always comes back.
Yeah.
Dude, am I doing it wrong? I don't know, but I combined them, and now I'm like, okay, this is good.
Moving.
Dude, I've been good. That's why I'm excited about the lifting. I have not lifted heavy in a long time.
Yeah.
Like pushing heavy, because it always a flare up. So I'm like, dude, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
So,
No point. You gotta
Yeah.
feel good.
why would you work out to just be in pain?
Yeah.
What
are you guys most excited for in your life right now? You guys got this like own business and like you're just doing the thing. Like, is there any other aspects that get you excited by it besides just playing the game?
I'm excited about traveling more.
Yeah.
Seeing different parts of the world. I just went to Europe for the first time in my life.
It's
and I was in Paris.
Okay.
And I kind of like broke the seal, and now I'm like, all right,
You're so
going back.
I never been to
somewhere-
Paris, but like I would say Italy and Poland and a couple of places. It was super cool.
Yeah, you gotta see those other. Like, it also just like gave me a lot of appreciation for like America and Los Angeles. Like, this is the land of opportunity. There's so much money flowing in this town. Like,
I read a stat that LA is like the second place in the world for the most millionaires.
Dude, I think it's the most billionaires in the world. Like number 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you guys love about LA?
Like pretty much exactly what he said.
the weather and the opportunity. Yeah, like if you're an entrepreneur or someone with some ambition, like this is the place where you can take over the world or create the life you want to create.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I'm from the Midwest, and it's a different mindset and culture and lifestyle.
How so?
there. I mean, I trained in Chicago, and also just like in the fitness industry, like somebody could be like high blood pressure, diabetic, and you're like, hey, you need to. Actually, doctors telling you need to work out, stay alive, and you just don't see the value in it. Like guys telling me he'll go out and have $300 dinners, but doesn't want to invest in having like a coach to guide him along his journey to like achieve. So, out here, people definitely value that more.
Mhm.
Even when I was in Paris, I noticed it. I'm like, people look more average over there, where in like Los Angeles,
No
like,
one's fit. I mean, they're just kind of like
Dude.
the
skinny.
priority
Yeah.
between like being jacked and shredded, it's just not
LA is a
there.
different
part of the
world.
culture. Where like everybody in Los Angeles is somewhat mindful about their health, to the extent whether they're like addressing it or not. Like
Even if they don't look good, they're out there running ultras.
Oh, 100%.
And like I care about this.
They're getting their hair on smoothies.
That's $26 smoothie.
It's kind of wild, bro.
Nuts.
First time I went to
can't
Aaron
lie.
one. Yeah, man, one.
A smoothie now.
It's not good.
But there, you know what is good? The food, like the
Hot food place, good. Everyone, their marketing's just good. Like,
great.
it's just like when you buy an Erewhon smoothie, you feel part of like the elite.
People love to drop. People love to drop Erewhon. Like in our gym, clients and all have mentioned like going to Erewhon. Like it's like they have to drop. Like, oh yeah, I was at Erewhon earlier.
Yeah.
Like why?
I've never. I was just talking to somebody about this. I've never been to Airport. Like, you should go.
It's
Like,
not your spot.
I'm staying loyal to Ralph's.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, I recently got rid of an Equinox membership because I thought I would like it. And then I was like, I don't like it. I can't really explain it because from a business standpoint, I was like, oh, you'll just meet people and networking wise, and back to what you said, you're surrounded with this caliber of people. But then I'll go in and work out in like sandals. Everyone's looking at me weird. I was like, this isn't my place. And the thing is, it's just weird because there are that type of people everywhere in LA, and you can meet them anywhere in LA. And I was like, you don't need that to establish just what I would do differently is like, I'd wear like regular lifting shoes that I don't feel comfortable in and go to Equinox. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable here.
Yeah, you're not going to be you're not going to be you.
Yeah.
It'll that would trickle into every single other aspect.
Single thing.
And if you did meet somebody, they'd probably be like, I don't know if I like this person because you're not being you.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. What do you call it? What are you most excited for in your life right now, Jerry?
See, right now, I'm gonna have a baby soon.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Is this new news?
This is actually the first time it's publicly broadcasted. So, but I'm gonna have to tell her after this. Let her know, like, if you publish this, it'll be out there. But we did actually say this weekend that we're at a stage. She's 5 months. 4.5, 5 months. Nice. And it's far long enough where we were gonna make like an announcement publicly. A lot of our friends already know. It's just not on the internet.
Yeah. What do you most excited about being a dad? That's so scary.
I mean, of course, the scariness, right? Yeah. ADHD dopamine on my damn challenge. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's the next. In my head, it's like the next logical thing, right? Like I feel like if I look back at myself in high school, it's like this person who didn't know much, and like looking back now, like how much I've learned. I'm like, I have a lot that I could teach, like a child. You know, like I have a lot that I can impart on them that I want to like share with them. That I want like, well, my own like little tribe. You know, like this human's like mine, and like they're part of my little like unit. You know. And so I'm really excited to just like, I don't know, have the father experience, like teach them, see the silly things they do, see the things that they try to pull over me. Cause like I did that and be like, nah, dude, I know how you're doing, you know, like you're not. So yeah.
How you guys are instilling that community tribe, culture in the gym space? Cause I found that every successful gym that I've like been in or witnessed is they have a really good camaraderie community base.
I would say anybody who comes in, I would just kind of break it down between like, hey, there's the corporate gym world, and then there's the independent life. And our goal as still being coaches is like, we want to help create the space where you can be like the most successful and like provide the resources and be available to help you with your career. I feel like that's been like, some people like really appreciate that. It's not just like a place you walk into and you do your business and you're out. Like we're up there all day, every day.
I mean, you're always going to see one of us. Yeah, pretty much always. And it's kind of like a no frills. Like we're not trying to get people in on the workouts that we're doing. We casually invite them in if they want to join our workout. Like we play different types of music all day long that people appreciate. Like, I need to jam with this. Like we throw back to like punk, like rock, we'll throw back to like metal, we'll throw to like EDM, we'll throw to like gangster rap, like whatever it is, and like different people vibe with it because they're like, oh, I don't hear that at like many commercial spaces, like they're not playing this music, so they're like, that gets them kind of into it. And I think that just the no frills of it, right? Like they can come in, do their business. Everyone's super professional. Everyone's like we have a good amount of group fitness coaches that like have their one-on-one clients there, and they kind of know each other from their gyms, and like that networking aspect that you can come in and like see another coach that you've seen like at this gym and like meet other people. I think that's what's like, I think that's like the identity of the gym. It's like I don't know if that's describing too much, you know, it's hard. It's like,
why should someone train at FitHubLA versus any other gym in the area?
In the area, I mean, I think it's that easy in and out, professional, no strings attached type of approach, right? We're not trying to convert you into being an in-house coach. We're not trying to like, I don't know, do anything. It's not like a self-interested thing on our part. It's like, we want you to come in and do your business, give us feedback. We add equipment periodically based on people's feedback. Like we retool ourselves with the content we do, like to help them out. We invite them to the content. It's like, we're just in there to like, we know what the grind is like. You express some sort of like frustration or some help needed, and we're going to help you out.
Yeah. So, like, we're not there to manage anybody, but if somebody wants to learn and grow or need something that complements their business, like we're there for them. We're all ears.
We have measured
our business to help accommodate other people.
Coaches have shouted us. We added them to a small group because they wanted additional income. They've not been comfortable on the camera, and we've like given them like a roadmap on how to do it, like how to be on camera more. different whatever it is, you know.
What does that do for you guys personally? Because I feel like that's just one step above regular training, right? Because, for example, I get a shit ton of joy from having someone like reach their goals or get better, right? And this is like on a more professional level than just their fitness.
Yeah.
Sure, you got more of it like being in management. I mean,
That's why I did the management. For sure.
I did mentorships at Equinox, like helping new coaches kind of get acclimated with the systems there. And like, it's great when you can see somebody who maybe lacks some confidence in an area, like start to be successful with it and be able to see them grow. It's just like, it's the same type of fulfillment that you get when you have a client that comes in at a baseline and like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
like,
one-to-one translation. I would
it's
say.
the same as you're just helping somebody out in different areas.
Yeah.
I
You get excited.
I feel
with
like
the
it's the
goal.
ultimate joy, like
it's-
like helping other people.
Yeah.
Super
They're like purpose fulfilling.
If you get excited for the goal, like your client reaching that goal, you're like genuinely pumped.
super pumped.
It's like in a one-to-one translation to see like a coach struggle with something, and then like
breakthrough.
then just talk to them. Like I had a conversation with the coach who came early on, and she was like shadowing. We did some business workshops. We chatted with her one-on-one, and then recently I was like, "How's everything been going?" Like we haven't talked and touched base like in a little bit. She's talking about like how her private business is taking off. Like she's getting referrals. Like the workshops we did kind of just put it in her ear of like how to like strike off the conversation and kind of help. And like, you know, she's just, I could just see the joy in her eyes of like her business is doing better. And to be honest, it's not even at FitHub primarily. Like she got some at home clients. It just helped her business grow. And I was like, cool. Like
awesome.
that's it. That's the whole point of the space.
I had a friend last week who I haven't talked to her for like 2 years, and I gave her this book. It's a really corny title. It's like How to Get Rich.
Yeah.
By Ramit Sethi, and it basically talks about like Roth IRAs, bank accounts, everything like that. She was just like, I just wanted to call and let you know that book made me like financially stable, and like just that referral itself changed my life, and it made me feel so good. I was like, I'm so happy that worked for you. Like, you took the time to read it. Or, for example, you guys giving it advice to like a mentee, be like, hey, this is what you need to do to get to your next step. And then it happens. You're like, whoa, you know?
I love that, man. Like I'm big into reading, and I always just throw it out there like, oh, this book is 9 out of 10. And
Yeah.
not always do people engage with it, but then I just had a guy like yesterday. He's like, "Oh, you posted about this book earlier in the year and you said it was great."
Yeah.
I'd seen the title, and I felt like it resonated. And he's like, "Can you send that over?"
Yeah.
I just like sent him the list of books I went through, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is it." And I was like, "This is a guy I haven't talked to in probably like 6 years or so." Like he was just an associate at Equinox when I was in Chicago, and it's like it's good, like, you know. And I think reading is an important part of our growth after we finish school. Like, where else are you getting like
Your
education?
Yeah.
So you're like doing courses or workshops. Like,
What are some of your favorite books?
I got a whole list of them. You know, I'm really big into like self-development stuff. I've also just kind of tapped into more of like understanding communication and like traumas and things that we go through in life and how it affects like our relationships as adults. There's a really good book called What Happened to Me by Oprah. There's another great one called The Motivation Myth.
You're a big quote guy. I saw your Instagram today. I was like, you're just working out and just spitting quotes out here. And I was like,
yeah, it's like, hey, you got to get that stuff like locked in your subconscious, and that kind of keeps you moving along the journey.
Well, I feel like what quotes do for me is they put words in a perspective that you didn't see, right? So they make you understand and motivate you in a way that you can articulate yourself.
Yep.
That is 100%. Like I'll like some about Hormozy.
Yeah.
I'll tell my wife, I was like, the stuff he says is not groundbreaking.
It's not.
Like the way he puts it together, you're like, click.
Yeah.
Done. That made total sense. And I like wish I could do that. You know, like you want to articulate as good as this person does.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. And he quotes a lot of what's Warren Buffett's partner?
Charlie Munger.
Charlie Munger. And his stuff resonates a lot, as well as Naval. And Naval said this that really changed our perspective on like happiness. Desire is the contract to be desire is the contract you make to yourself. Desire is the contract you make yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Desire is the contract you make yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. So like everyone's just unhappy all the time until you get what you want, and then you're like, oh, I'm happy, and then there's the next thing, and it's just a repeating cycle, you know. And I was just like, oh, because everyone has achieved something that you already wanted to achieve, that you told yourself that would make you happy.
That's why we gotta practice gratitude.
Right? Yeah. And so a big thing for me was like, oh, I wanted to go to this college. Okay, I got in, and then you hate it because you have to study so much. And then you graduate. You're like, okay, cool, I love it. And then the next thing, I got this job. And I was like, I'll be so happy when I'm a personal trainer. And then like, what's the next step?
That's the entrepreneur.
Yeah. You got to balance it out, because if you don't, it eats at you. Because it's true unhappiness, right? Like, is Naval like what like background is he? It's like, is that like a?
So he's an angel investor. Now he modern day philosopher. I would say. Most of his following is like lonely young men who want to get shit done now. Yeah, like get together. But
it's just super Buddhist.
Yeah.
In that phrase, because like something I told you, like the suffering, like what is suffering? You know, and suffering is like in the Buddhist mindset is just simply wanting to not be in the current state that you're in, or wanting something else.
Well, the Buddhists define life as suffering.
Yeah, well, because most of it's exactly that. Like you have the contract that you make for the desire. Like you're setting constant goals. You just have to accept, right? Like the Buddhists like accept the current state and don't try to change it. Just be in it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the point of meditation is to just be present in the current state, right? Because all of your suffering is chasing another state or not being happy with your current state, right? Because those can be separate, but like the entrepreneur wants to create something and have something new, or like the creation. So then you can very easily be unhappy with your current state because you're chasing that entrepreneurial, like I want that success, I want that business. But like, I don't know. So for me, that was huge. I like that quote a lot that you just said, because it's like, it's been a huge, like, in the back of my mind thought process of like, I am happy with everything I have right now.
Sure.
Even though I don't have what I necessarily want.
Yeah.
You know? So
being self-aware of that, it's like cool too. But it's like, but then like, what is your definition of happiness? Then you have to go there. The one thing I do love about Hormozi is he's like, I'm going to define everything.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't know what a word means, you know?
I was listening to his podcast and I was driving to the beach with my wife, and it's just a different school of thought. So I was like, I think you have a different school of thought. But he was like, this guy came on, asked the question, like, how do I get through this situation? My grandma passed away and I had to give a speech, whatever, yada, yada. He was like talking through, and he goes, well, how do you get over something? Like, what is the point when you're over something? You just choose to be over it.
Yeah.
My wife just laughed in the middle of that. She goes, that is so dumb. She was not about it, because she's very much of like, go to the root of the problem, find out the root of the unhappiness, of the sadness, and like, why is your grandma passing affecting you? You know, go into it. I was like, yeah, but can anyone define when they got over something? No. It was just one day you woke up and you decided that you were going to be okay and over it. And so he kind of just put it in such a simplistic term, defined it. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Like,
one thing that he does say that I started saying a lot that really pisses people off is like, you want to do something. I was like, just do it. Versus like of judgments and everything. I was like, this person is going to die someday, right? And everyone's going to die. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
So put it into the world. Like make the content, start the business, XYZ. And he goes like, do you remember your great grandpa? I was like, no. You know, like,
no.
It's like that's two generations. It's like, it's gone. And it's a thought that a lot of people don't like to bring up because it's so non-emotional. You know,
there's a book out there. I wish I could reference it. A buddy of mine was giving me the synopsis of it, trying to get me to read it, and unfortunately I didn't read it. But I did take this one thing from it, which was like, the book was premise was like, most of what people do in life is actually in fear of death. Like it's a philosophical viewpoint that like roots a lot of human action, of like the idea that yourself is gonna die. So like creating a business, like why do you want a really successful business and to create like something? So you want a legacy, because the legacy can go on after you die. So you didn't really die. And they're like, a lot of things are rooted in that. Like everything you do. Why do you want kids? they're going to outlive you. They're the next piece of you. Right. And like all those things, like it's not, my wife also didn't like this. She's like, I get opposite. She challenges me and I love it. But she should be like that everyone doesn't act that way because they're going to die. And I'm like, yeah, on a conscious level, no. But on a subconscious level, probably a lot. Yeah. Like, and the book had a lot of really good about like fundamental points that connected to that. But it was like, yeah, like fear of death is like.
How often do you guys think about that?
Not a lot consciously.
Not a lot consciously.
But I'm questioning, like, why the hell do I want to have such a really successful business? Like, why is that like a driving force in my life? Yeah. Like, and you have a legacy. I don't know.
You asked me why I work so hard. I think about death every single day.
Yeah?
Yeah, every single day.
Really?
Yeah, I think about it. I'm like, I could die today. So do everything you can to achieve and...
But it's a conscious thought. Like, you wake up and, like, you think, like, damn. Okay.
I wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I'm still here. Let's get after it.
Yeah? That's good, man. I feel like I don't do that in a conscious way, but a long time ago, I like it was like when I was dating, I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen right now? And I went and talked to this person, like ridicule, whatever, like, and I just did a countdown of like 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm gonna say, but I'm going.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's like in the same like
realm,
right? Yeah. Like I'm doing it because like I want to take action because I don't want to miss this moment. I don't want to like die and not have done it. Yeah. You know, 100%.
Do you guys have any advice for any young coaches trying to make a living off coaching, and how do they start and go about doing that? Because it's hard out here. Like LA Fitness is LA Fitness, dude. I mean, not LA Fitness, but LA Fitness scene is competitive.
It's also really, really intimidating. You know, somebody mentioned the idea of like how intimidating. I think it was our intern, like how intimidating it was to see like something like such a like long span of business, right? And you might see some people in LA who just have like this like incredible track record of business, like that they've been in the game for so long, and you look at it and you go, oh my God, that's like insurmountable. How do I ever get there? You know, I think it's like super daunting. I'm a big fan of it.
Like Justin over here.
Yeah, exactly. Really, just prescribe them stuff, you know, it's easy. Just tell them they need it 3 or 4 times a week and then they'll pay you.
And then you'll get a full roster in 6 weeks.
Exactly. Super easy. That's the next thing. I have a naive nature to pursuing something, right? And I think that that's super necessary because like sometimes when you have like, if you know what the injuries are going to come and you focus too much on the injuries or like whatever's going to happen along the way, it's just too intimidating. It's impossible to start something because you're too scared of the outcome. And I think knowing, like, kind of being a little naive there and just thinking like, what's the worst that could happen, and doing it is probably the best thing as a coach. Like, just go after it, right? Don't think too much. Think less.
I'm actually mentoring a guy. He's 22. Like,
he's young bug.
Yeah, lives in Wisconsin. One of my younger brother's friends. And he's reached out to me a couple times over the years, like, hey, like, really interested in what you're doing. Like, it seems like an industry where I feel like it would be like fulfilling for me to like help others. Like, I help my friends look out, and just kind of giving him like the blueprint. Like, hey man, gotta get certified. Like, get your credentials, get in the game, be around the gym, follow people that you can learn from. Don't be shy to just like start ripping content, putting stuff out. Like,
ripping it.
He just posted his like first video the other day. He was like, you have any like ideas on what I should do? And I was like, dude, just get it out there, because your first video isn't going to be your best video, but like you got to start it. Yeah. Like once you start, then it's like
build the momentum.
Yeah. It's like nothing, you know, I don't think anything happens overnight, but like you start putting down the, you know, the path. It's like you're going to get there eventually.
I mean, I think people see brands and think like, I have to have everything perfect to get started. You know, I mean, walking into this setup, I was impressed. We went over like, this is like the equipment you have, like the background. I was like, oh damn, okay, this is like a legit thing. And like, to somebody that wants to start a podcast, they're like, damn, I have to get all this, I have to do that. This guy has it all figured out. Like, he knows the processes. Like, it took you a while.
Well, a lot of people ask me like, where do I start? And I was like, hey, dude, you need your phone, you need some AirPods, and you need a podcasting platform.
Yeah,
and that's all you need. It will take you $33 a month to start your podcast on this platform. All you need is your phone and like some way to talk through.
Most people probably hate that advice.
But that's what it is. And I mean, I did that.
I know, but most
They hate it. They're like, what mic should I get? What lights? I was like, hey, dude, like you got to build the consistency muscle.
Right.
Dude,
You know?
half the battle sometimes with top working with people and mentoring is like all of those extras you see only happen once they started. Right? Like
All the extras that you see?
like all the mics getting better. All that happened once you started. You started to do what you got people on. You started to feel good about it.
You have to like love the thing that you're doing. Not love it. I have to feel like you don't need to hate it. I mean, don't hate it, because like I generally just like talking to people. I would sit down, have a cocktail with you boys any day, and I would love to bounce ideas off your head, and like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and to be able to do that just for fun and make some money off of it, which it now has, is pretty cool.
And that too, and we talk
Same
about
with training.
with some stuff in the gym is like, if you go into it being like, oh, I need to, like, this needs to yield the result of me making money off of it. Like there has to be more than that, because you gotta perfect the craft over time, and being passionate about it is like the most important variable.
But
then naturally,
what Ramosy says about passion, it's like you're not gonna be passionate about something you're not good at. So get good at it, and then you'll like it, and then you'll get
enough.
Yeah,
and you will start to like it.
Yeah,
and then you become dude, crazy.
Yeah,
dude, I don't know how truly. Like, I know how, in terms of I can give you a chronological time on how I became a coach and got to this point. But, like, if you asked me as a, college graduate that I would be in Los Angeles having a gym, I always said, no, that's not what
that's not that long ago.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 7 years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have told you I'd be here.
Yeah.
But, like, I just followed a skill. I got the certification, started training people, kind of liked it, moved into it more, trained more people, started liking more, got better at it. I didn't build a business in 6 weeks, but got like 3 months, had a business, and I was like, oh, I'm good at this. Yeah. And then I'm here. Or like now I'm here. It's like this wasn't a passion before I got through the steps.
And now it is?
Yeah, now I love it, dude. So people like, do you like what you do? I was like, yeah, couldn't wake up and do anything else. Yeah. Like
also the people that you meet in this industry, maybe in LA too, it's like you meet some wild folks.
Yeah. Might be the best part, honestly. It might be the best part, LA especially.
Yeah. All right, boys, I think we'll call it there. Where can everyone find FitHubLA? Where can everyone find you guys?
Dude, at FitHubLA, Instagram, right? FitHubUSA.com. FitHubLA on Google, Apple Maps. We're at 423 South Fairfax Avenue.
Go check them out.
Just south of the Grove.
Coaches go hit you guys up.
Yeah, whatever you need, man. Any questions you have, even if it's just mentoring or not even coming to the gym, available.
Cool. Sweet. Go check them out, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.